Chapter 344. After Long Yu stepped into the ultimate divine hall, he did not hesitate. He directly opened the diamond-encrusted box in the center of the hall. I have taken the ultimate divine hall. This round of the heavenly mandate sand table should be over. I just don't know what is in this box. As Long Yu thought about it, he glanced at the box. He was slightly taken aback by what he saw. A stone tablet that emitted endless heat was placed in the box. It turned out to be a divine tablet with fire attribute. The divine tablet law is still too rare for most martial arts cultivators. I didn't expect there to be a divine tablet hidden in the ultimate divine hall. Long Yu was a little surprised, but this was reasonable. The person who could take the ultimate divine hall must be one of the strongest among the 400 people participating in the heavenly mandate sacred selection. No matter who obtained the divine tablet, their strength would rapidly increase. In this way, the divine tablet was taken out for the future disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate. It could also increase the overall strength of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate. However, perhaps no one would have thought that the one who obtained the divine tablet would be Long Yu. Flaming Sun Divine Tablet. Long Yu sensed the energy within this heavenly steel, and the name of this heavenly steel flashed through his mind. The Flaming Sun Heavenly Steel contained an endless amount of flame energy. It was violent and intense, causing Long Yu to feel a little unbearable. He raised his hand and tried to put the Flaming Sun Divine Tablet away, but found that the power of the Flaming Sun Law contained in it could even directly melt his body. The temperature is too high. If I want to take this Divine Tablet away, I either have to comprehend the power within it or use the Dragon Seal of the Nine Underworld to take it away. Long Yu frowned slightly. After thinking about it, he decided to take it away first. After all, he was not the only person in his group. There were also Man Xin and Yan Huan Mo. Although the two of them did not contribute much in the process of fighting for the ultimate divine hall, he still had to ask for their opinion. Although Long Yu was very strong, he still valued friendship. As long as it was someone on his side, then Long Yu would certainly not ignore the feelings of the other party. Just as Long Yu was about to step out of the ultimate divine hall, the rest of the people had already been transported out of the heavenly mandate sand table. Including Man Xin and Yan Huan Mo, they also returned to the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate unharmed. There were more than 400 people who participated in the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection, but now only more than 200 people had returned to the sky below where the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table was. As for the others, they were all seriously injured and were still recuperating in the guest rooms of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate. This time, a total of 15 people lost their lives in the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table. Xuanji Shanhai swept his gaze over the crowd, and with a calm expression, he began to report the names of the 15 people. When Man Xin and Yan Huan Mo heard this, they paid close attention and discovered that among the 15 people, there were 2 Ghost Valley winged envoys who were killed by Long Yu. Other than these 2, the other 13 people did not die in the hands of Long Yu. It showed how fierce the competition in the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table was. However, there were at least 20 martial arts practitioners sent out of the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table by Long Yu. Among these people, only 2 people really died. It showed that the medical ability of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Sand Table was quite strong. If it was in the Tang Empire, many martial arts practitioners who were seriously injured by Long Yu would not have survived. On the road of martial arts, accidents are inevitable, but I need to remind you. Xuanji Shanhai glanced at the crowd and said solemnly, in the next round of the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection, the number of you who will die will far exceed this round. After all, in this round, you still have the protection of the rules of the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table. But in the next round, it will be a real battle of life and death. A real battle of life and death. What rules would that be? As soon as everyone heard Xuanji Shanhai's words, they immediately began to think and began to prepare for the next round. Next, I will announce the comprehensive scores that you have obtained in the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table. As Xuanji Shanhai spoke, he took out a bamboo slip and began to read it with no expression on his face. At this stage, the more than 200 young martial arts practitioners in front of Xuanjishan High all focused their attention. Many people wanted to know how they performed in this round. Of course, they knew how many divine halls they had snatched, but they did not know about the others. I wonder which expert from the heavenly being's secret land took the ultimate palace away. That was a score of 100 points. With that 100 points, he would almost certainly be admitted by the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm. Alas, only the warriors of the heavenly being's secret realm can get the ultimate divine hall. In my opinion, it is most likely Ji Tianqi. After all, he is the strongest among the warriors of the heavenly being's secret realm. Yes, not to mention that there seems to be another warrior of the heavenly being's secret realm on the heavenly cloud sword kingdom side. He is a martial arts practitioner of the heavenly cloud sword kingdom's royal family. I think his name is Yunze. With the two of them working together, there should be no suspense in getting the ultimate divine hall. Many people started whispering to each other. When these people were finally transmitted out by the heavenly mandate sand table, they did not reach the area where the ultimate divine hall was located. Of course, they did not know what the final situation was. They could only guess according to what they knew. However, as the people involved, Ji Tianqi and Yunze, and even several other warriors of the heavenly being's secret realm, were silent at this moment. They knew that the truth was not as the people around them had discussed. It was one of the warriors of the heavenly being's secret realm who snatched the ultimate divine hall. The one who really snatched the ultimate divine hall was a boy in the rank 9 true spirit, named Long Yu. At this moment, he had not left the microcosm of the heavenly mandate sand table. Among all the more than 400 people, only Long Yu, who was still in the ultimate divine hall, had not been transmitted out of the microcosm of the heavenly mandate sand table. Just as everyone was discussing and guessing, Xuanjishan High finally began to announce the results. The first group is the group of Long Yu from the Tang Empire. In this round, Long Yu, Man Xian, and Yin Huan Mo each received a comprehensive score of 124 points. When Xuanjishan High announced this, his eyes were full of disbelief and hatred. Xuanjishan High was extremely unhappy with Long Yu's results, but there was nothing he could do about it. If he wanted to play tricks, he could only wait until the next round. And the results of this round, no matter how unhappy he was, he had to honestly announce it. The other 4 supervisors from the other academies of the heavenly mandate realm were watching from the side, especially by Yuxing of the Southern Academy of the heavenly mandate realm. The white-bearded old man seemed to be very interested in Long Yu. Bai Yuxing's seniority and strength were much higher than Xuanjishan High's. Of course, Xuanjishan High did not dare to distort the truth in front of him and speak nonsense. Long Yu first, even his 2 team members, Man Xian and Yin Huan Mo, all received 124 points. As soon as Xuanjishan High said this, those martial arts practitioners who did not know the truth all widened their eyes and mouths. They all wondered if they had heard wrong. It was not until they heard a burst of exclamations from the audience that they knew they had not heard wrong. The ultimate shrine had indeed been snatched away by Long Yu. Moreover, Long Yu had obtained 124 points. Could it be that he had also snatched an advancement shrine? Brother Human and Brother Human are not here. Mo Shang from the Demon Kingdom of the Soul Valley glanced around and thought to himself, thinking about the situation at that time, Brother Human and Brother Human did not come to the ultimate divine palace at the beginning. Could it be that this pair of brothers were in the same area as Long Yu? So Long Yu snatched the advancement divine palace and sent them out of the heavenly mandate sand table small world? But how was this possible? No matter what, Brother Human was an expert in the heavenly human secret realm, and Long Yu was only in the rank 9 true spirit. Ji Tianqi, Mo Shang, and the others all saw the process of Long Yu snatching the ultimate divine palace. They all thought that Long Yu had used some tricks to finally succeed. They all thought that if Long Yu fought them head-on in the arena, they would never be defeated by Long Yu. But now, when they heard that Long Yu had obtained 124 points and that Brother Human was not in the arena, their thoughts began to waver. Brother Human did not appear here, so he must be resting in the guest room of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm to recover. Who could hurt Brother Human? It was definitely not the other experts in the Heavenly Human Secret Realm. Apart from the people in the Heavenly Human Secret Realm, the only one who could have done this was probably Long Yu, who had snatched the ultimate divine palace. Long Yu? I didn't expect that kid to snatch the ultimate divine palace. Yeah, and I thought he would be killed off by Brother Tiger Man as soon as he came out after stealing Brother Tiger Man's advancement divine hall. Who knew that Brother Tiger Man wouldn't appear? The people who were discussing this were the martial practitioners who had witnessed Long Yu snatching the divine palace of advancement from Brother Human. However, no one had seen the battle between Long Yu and Brother Human. There were more than 200 people in the arena. Except for Man Xian and Yin Huan Mo, no one knew how Long Yu defeated Brother Human. As Xuanji Shanhai announced the results of Long Yu's team, Long Yu's whereabouts in the entire Heavenly Mandate Sand Table were basically spread by everyone. First, he stepped into the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table and avoided natural disasters by some mysterious means. He searched for the Heavenly Mandate Divine Palace and directly snatched more than 10 ordinary divine palaces. Then, the Divine Palace of Advancement appeared. Long Yu's team set up an ambush in advance. They actually used tricks to threaten Brother Human and snatched the Divine Palace of Advancement from Brother Human. Some people saw that Brother Human had been guarding outside the Divine Palace of Advancement. However, no one knew how Long Yu escaped from Brother Human's obstruction, or how he blasted Brother Human out of the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table. In the end, Long Yu appeared near the ultimate divine palace with his people. He first killed 2 winged envoys of Ghost Valley, and then took the ultimate divine palace from Yunza. The whole process took only a few days. However, in the past few days, Long Yu's actions had caused everyone's impression of him to change. Chapter 345. After the first round of the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table, Long Yu had obviously become famous. However, there was a price to pay for that. After snatching the Advancement Divine Hall, Long Yu had offended the Barbarian Brothers. After that, he had offended all the Heavenly Secret Realm warriors when he snatched the Ultimate Divine Hall. After all, taking the Ultimate Divine Hall from the Heavenly Secret Realm warriors was a slap in the face for all of them. It was inevitable that people would think that the Heavenly Secret Realm warriors were all paper tigers, since they let a kid in the rank 9 True Spirit take the Ultimate Divine Hall. For some people, the issue of face was a big problem. Therefore, it was normal for Long Yu to be hated by the Heavenly Secret Realm warriors. This kid must have gotten something good. I should have gone to the Ultimate Divine Hall to check it out. Yu Qianing, who was in another area of the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table, stood in the crowd and thought bitterly. She tried her best to hook up with God-worshipping Eagle, a warrior from the Heavenly Being Secret Realm of Dragon Do. Together with 2 other warriors from Dragon Do, she entered the Sand Table of Heavenly Mandate. In the end, she won 11 ordinary divine halls and got 11 points. Yu Qianing had thought that she had taken enough, but she didn't expect that Long Yu would be so far ahead of her. An Ultimate Divine Hall and an Advancement Divine Hall. Other than the total score of 110, the treasures inside must be extraordinary, and all of them belonged to Long Yu. Yu Qianing's face was gloomy. She hated and envied Long Yu to the extreme. Sister Yu, you don't have to be like this. Next to Yu Qianing, there was a handsome young cultivator from Dragon Do. He said with a smile, "This kid has offended too many people with his actions. He won't even know how he died in the next round of battle." That's true. The next round is the one that can really take his life. Yu Qianing's eyes flashed with ferocity. As long as we can kill him, even if he has 1,000 or 10,000 points, it doesn't matter. The Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm can't save him. That's the right way to think. The handsome young cultivator smiled and nodded his head. The way he looked at Yu Qianing was filled with an evil aura. It was obvious that he had some thoughts about Yu Qianing. However, Yu Qianing didn't seem to care about what this guy thought about her. She enjoyed it. Of course, she didn't like this guy. Even if he wanted to sleep with her, he would at least be a celestial secret realm warrior. This was Yu Qianning's biggest goal for participating in the sacred selection. She did not have much of a chance of joining the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate. However, if she could hook up with Bai Shenying, the future cultivator of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate, she would not have to worry about her future. Senior brother Worshipping Eagle was injured by Ji Tianxi in Yunzhe during the fight for the ultimate divine palace. However, in the next round, senior brother Worshipping Eagle will definitely not let that brat Long Yu off. In his eyes, Long Yu is already a dead man. On the other side, in the Tang group, Chu Huang, Long Hen, and Ling Long Yu got 8 ordinary divine halls in the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table. Each of them got 8 points. Originally, this score was considered above average among all the groups. However, when compared to Long Yu, this score was completely insignificant. Long Yu, you really gave me a fright. Chu Huang smiled bitterly. Originally, she wasn't in the same group as Long Yu. Although it was because of her elder's orders, she also looked down on Long Yu. However, she didn't expect that Long Yu would actually snatch the Advancement Shrine and the Ultimate Shrine, shocking everyone with a single feat. Ling Long Yu, who was wearing a veil, didn't say anything. Her eyes were indifferent, as if this had nothing to do with her. On the other hand, when the red-robed Long Hen from the Long family heard that Long Yu had actually obtained a score of 124, he was completely stunned. He was dumbfounded on the spot. Cousin, your son is really surprising. But he was in the limelight during the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection, but he didn't enter the Celestial Being's secret realm. I'm afraid something will happen in the next round. Long Hen thought with mixed feelings. Psychologically, he wanted to help Long Yu, but he had to obey the orders of his elders. The Long family ordered that Long Yu is no longer a member of the Long family. During the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection, Long Hen not only couldn't help Long Yu, but also should hit him when he was down. This was not because the Long family was too ruthless, but because the Long family knew that some people in the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection would not let Long Yu live so smoothly. Long Yu, Feng Yao, who was wearing a light green dress, heard what Xuanji Shanhai said from afar, and her expression was a bit complicated. She was in a group with 2 female cultivators from Shuilan country, and they only got 4 points in the last round. It was basically impossible for them to enter the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection. But the score of Long Yu's group was so much better than hers. Back then, no one was willing to team up with Long Yu. Only Yin Huanma was determined to be with Long Yu, and finally, Man Xian was added. At that time, Long Yu, Man Xian, and Yin Huanma were only at the 8th tier of the secret realm of the true spirit. But now, the 3 of them had all made breakthroughs in the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table, and they all stepped into the 9th tier of the true spirit realm. Not only that, but they even got the Advancement Divine Hall and the Ultimate Divine Hall. Now, as long as Long Yu was careful, no, how could the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection let Long Yu have a last laugh? Feng Yao frowned slightly and looked at Xuanji Shanhai, who was dressed in luxurious clothes, in front of her. Although Xuanji Shanhai looked quite fair on the surface, in fact, he seemed to be targeting Long Yu. No matter what, I can't do anything about it. Feng Yao shook her head as she thought about it. Long Yu had amazed everyone in this round of the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table. It could be said that he had attracted everyone's attention. She, Feng Yao, could not do anything in such a situation. Want to help Long Yu? She cannot do it. Want to harm Long Yu? She was not qualified. Those who wanted to deal with Long Yu were probably already lining up to kill Long Yu. Feng Yao would not have a chance. Brother Long, you are really extraordinary, haha. On the other side, the handsome young man Tian Yutian laughed, sincerely happy for Long Yu's achievements. However, Lu Xiao and the genius of the Heavenly Cloud Sword Nation next to him did not look happy. Xiao Tian, Long Yu has offended too many people. In the next round, it's better for us to cut ties with him. Lu Xiao said to Tian Yutian solemnly. Brother Lu, how can you say that? Tian Yutian was a little surprised. Brother Long saved your life. If it wasn't for him, I'm afraid you would still be frozen in the ice now. That's all in the past. Besides, as an exchange, we risked our lives to get the golden essence fruit, but didn't we give it to that alchemist? Lucio advised, it's a fair deal between us and Long Yu. Xiao Tian, you don't need to feel burdened. Brother Long is my friend. Tian Yutian stared at Lucio and said solemnly, if even a celestial being is targeting him, what's the use of your help? Lucius countered with a question. That's right. The young genius of the heavenly cloud sword nation said indifferently, that Long Yu robbed our senior brother Ji and senior brother Yun of the heavenly cloud sword nation's ultimate shrine. He will definitely be targeted in the next round. If you know what's good for you, you'd better stay away from him. Anyway, I still say the same thing. I won't help Long Yu. Tian Yutian listened to the two and narrowed his eyes, not saying a word. He raised his head and glanced at the position of the heavenly mandate sand table. He thought of Long Yu, who was still in it. Take care. If you encounter any danger in the next round, I, Tian Yutian, will definitely help you. Tian Yutian thought to himself, but he did not say anything because he knew that if he said anything, Lucio would definitely object. He wanted to help Long Yu, but he did not want to fall out with Lucio. After all, he and Lucio grew up together and cultivated together. To him, Lucio was like a real brother. Everyone must be very curious. How did Long Yu deal with Brother Barbarian? Xuanji Shanhai listened to the discussion of the crowd and felt that most people were hostile to Long Yu. He could not help but smile and said, everyone has their own unique trump card, and Long Yu's trump card is amazing. With his cultivation of the rank 9 true spirit, he was able to use a martial arts technique that defeated Brother Barbarian. This is something that none of you can do. However, after using his trump card, his whole body will be stiff for a period of time, and he will not be able to move. If he is not sure that it is safe, he will not use it easily, Xuanji. Just as Xuanji Shanhai was talking excitedly, an old man's confused voice came over. Is this the time to talk about this? This old man was an elder from the Southern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm, Bai Yuxing. Xuanji Shanhai turned his head and saw Bai Yuxing looking at him with a frown. It was obvious that he was very dissatisfied with what he had just said. Sorry, Senior Bai. I was too excited and said too much. Xuanji Shanhai immediately apologized with a smile. Bai Yuxing snorted softly and did not say anything more. However, at this moment, Bai Yuxing could see that this Xuanji Shanhai's words were quite against Long Yu. From the moment he saw Long Yu, it seemed that he had intentionally or unintentionally made an enemy of Long Yu. As for now, it was even more obvious that he had actually pointed out the fatal weakness of Long Yu's trump card. If Bai Yuxing had not interrupted, this Xuanji Shanhai would have said more, right? However, even if it was just this much, it was enough to bring a lot of information to everyone present. Long Yu actually had a trump card martial arts technique that could defeat Brother Barbarian in the celestial secret realm with the cultivation of the rank 9 true spirit. This move must be an extremely powerful martial arts technique that would cause one's whole body to be stiff for a period of time after using it, completely unable to move. In other words, this Long Yu is still unable to fight against us celestial beings. Ji Tianqi narrowed his eyes and thought to himself. Not only him, but the other celestial beings' secret realm experts also had the same thought. Chapter 346. After Xuanji Shanhai spoke, more than 200 people present had different thoughts. At this moment, a figure was finally teleported out of the small world of the heavenly mandate sand table. Immediately after, the small world of the heavenly mandate sand table shrank and returned to the hands of Xuanji Shanhai. The last figure that came out was, of course, Long Yu. The heavenly mandate sand table was not owned by Xuanji Shanhai. He was just keeping it for him. Long Yu is out. I wonder what kind of treasure is in the ultimate divine palace. It must at least be something of the mysterious level. Martial arts technique? Combat weapon? No matter what it is, Long Yu's combat capability will definitely be improved. That's right. In the next round, with our strength, it's better not to provoke Long Yu. Many people knew that Long Yu had the strength to kill a celestial being. If they, the weaklings of the true spirit's secret realm, provoked Long Yu, they would most likely die. Even those who had a grudge against Long Yu, such as Su Changyi, who joined the 10,000 Arrow sect, had no intention of attacking Long Yu. Because, anyway, there were people from the heavenly being's secret realm watching Long Yu. Why would they take the risk? No one was willing to be someone else's pawn. The genius martial cultivators present were even less willing to do useless work. Congratulations to the Long Yu team. Xuanji Shanhai squinted his eyes and said, "Next, the second team is Ji Tianqi from the Tianyun Sword Nation, with a total of 32 points. 32 points, plus 10 points from an advanced shrine. In other words, Ji Tianqi had snatched 22 ordinary shrines by himself. He was indeed faster than Long Yu and the others. After all, after entering the heavenly being's secret realm, one's flying speed would be much faster. For the experts of the Heavenly Mandate's sand table, it was like a tailor-made small world. In fact, this round was originally meant for the experts of the heavenly being's secret realm to widen the gap between them and the others. It was just that those like Brother Barbarian who failed to live up to expectations could not blame others. Of course, if they didn't perform well in this round, they would still have a chance in the next round. However, if they were to fight to the death in the next round, it would be a battle of life and death. Currently, no one knew what the rules of the next round were. Xuanji Shanhai had said that they would have to wait for a month for all the seriously injured contestants to recover. With a month's time to prepare for war, everyone's strength would most likely increase. This was a good thing for Long Yu. While the others were recuperating, Long Yu could comprehend more martial techniques and familiarize himself with the battle weapon, so that he would have a stronger combat prowess in the next round. The bottleneck of the heavenly being's secret realm. How do I break through it? What Long Yu was thinking about the most was this question. Once one stepped into the celestial being's secret realm, it would be like a carp leaping through the dragon's gate, becoming a mighty one on the heavenly mandate continent in one fell swoop. However, this step was not so easy to take. Xuanji Shanhai was announcing the results. Long Yu directly made his way to Man Xian and Yin Huan under everyone's attention. He whispered to the two of them, "There's a sun-scorched heavenly tablet in the ultimate divine hall. Which one do you want it?" His words stunned Man Xian and Yin Huan Ma. A divine tablet on the heavenly mandate continent. The laws of heaven and earth were the fundamental source of power for martial arts cultivators. If they could get a divine tablet and comprehend the laws of heaven and earth in it, their strength would undoubtedly double. Both Man Xian and Yin Huanma knew that Long Yu had comprehended the laws of the divine tablet, and it seemed that he had comprehended more than one. Therefore, he must know how precious the divine tablet was. Now that he had obtained a divine tablet from the ultimate divine palace, he actually asked them if they wanted it. "Brother Long, I didn't do much in the process of snatching the ultimate divine palace. Even if you give me this divine tablet, I don't have the face to take it." Man Xian said seriously. "Yes, Long Yu, you can take it yourself." Yin Huanma also shook his head. "Okay then." Long Yu nodded. In fact, he planned to take it himself, but if either Man Xian or Yin Huanma wanted it, he could sell it to them. Long Yu had comprehended the laws of Taiyin Divine Tablet and Xianlei Divine Tablet. Even if he had the Divine Tablet, it wouldn't change his strength. However, with the Flaming Sun Heavenly Steel, Long Yu would be able to use one more type of power. It might have a special effect in some special situations. After Xuanji Shanhai announced everyone's results, the overall ranking of all 400 people was clear. Long Yu, Man Xian, and Yin Huanma were naturally the top three. Among them, Yin Huanma was temporarily ranked first because he had comprehended the divine text. This position made countless people's eyes red with envy. Everyone dispersed and returned to the guest rooms arranged by the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm to rest. When Long Yu returned to his room, he didn't rest much. Instead, he began to comprehend the power of the divine tablet. With the tablet in hand, it would be a waste not to use it. Comprehending another kind of power would give him another way to deal with danger. Long Yu still had a month's time, which was enough for him to comprehend the laws of sun and even the general trend of the world. The divine tablet contains the laws of sun, a pure law of fire. If I can comprehend the basics, it will be more convenient for me to refine elixirs. Long Yu thought to himself. However, he wouldn't use this month's time to comprehend the divine tablet. In the heavenly mandate sand table, at the last moment of snatching the ultimate divine haul, he had displayed a burst of speed. The Dragon Sparrow Instant Space was a method of using it when he had comprehended the Dragon Sparrow Flash to the highest level. Using the Dragon Sparrow's wings to shake the space and increase his speed, he was several times faster than an expert of the heavenly realm. Many attacks that couldn't be avoided normally could be easily avoided by using the Dragon Sparrow Instant Flash. Therefore, in this month's time, Long Yu had to consolidate the use of the Dragon Sparrow Instant Flash. If he encountered danger or some special situation, the effect of this move would be very obvious. Long Yu summarized all the combat power he had now. The final trump card was, of course, the Dragon of 9 Underworld's real spirit. However, if he released the real spirit, it was very likely that the Ancient would come to seize control of the body. Long Yu had no idea what would happen. Therefore, unless it was absolutely necessary, Long Yu would never release the real spirit of the Dragon of 9 Underworld. Next was the Yu divine text that he had comprehended. The power of the divine text was much stronger than the laws of the divine tablet. Even if Long Yu had only comprehended 1,000th of the power of the Yu divine text, when he used it, its power would definitely far exceed all of his attacks. However, he hadn't really used the power of the Yu divine text. This was a trump card that he had hidden and no one knew about. In addition to these two trump cards, the desolate level 9 underworld explosion that had been exposed could only be used under special circumstances. He had already comprehended it to the great success level and could use the third explosion, the Soul Blast. His regular method, the Killing Moon Knife Light, was condensed by the power of the laws of Een. Its power was not bad, but it was obviously not good enough to deal with the warriors of the celestial being's secret realm. He had comprehended the two martial arts techniques, the Royal Water Screen and the Royal Water Vortex, to the great success level. Even though they were black-level middle-grade martial arts techniques standing on the stage of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm, they were only very common methods. After the round of the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table, many participants had already obtained the cultivation secret manuals of black-level martial arts techniques, such as Man Xian, Yin Huan, and Mo. After this round, the strength of many people had been greatly improved. Long Yu's originally relatively powerful methods were really nothing in comparison. However, in the small world of the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table, Long Yu also obtained a lot of good things. The 9 Underworld Blood Shadow, which had been transformed into a black-level upper-grade weapon, was temporarily not compatible with Long Yu, so it couldn't play a big role. However, if it could resonate with him, its true power would be revealed. In this regard, Long Yu was very looking forward to it. And the martial arts techniques that he had used for a long time, Drunk Underworld and Awakening the Palm of Reincarnation, were still indispensable to his battles. At the critical moment, he could use them to decide the outcome of the battle. Among them, Drunk Underworld had been comprehended to the realm of transformation. As Long Yu wanted to, he could turn the surroundings into the underworld realm to weaken others and strengthen himself. In Awakening the Palm of Reincarnation, in addition to weakening opponents, could also let Long Yu see the future, which benefited him a lot in terms of comprehending martial arts techniques. In this month, I will first comprehend some of the Flaming Sun Steel and try to integrate with the 9 Underworld Blood Shadow. Then, I will explore the power of the Yu Divine Text. Long Yu made a plan in his heart, and then began to implement it. A month's time was not long, but it was not short either. A month later, there were more than 400 people left who participated in the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection. All of them gathered on the square of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate. After this month, it was obvious that the strength of most of the martial arts cultivators had improved. Of course, there were also a few people who were the same as before. Those were those who did not benefit from the heavenly mandate, Sand Table Small World. Xuanji Shanhai once again appeared in front of everyone. Long Yu noticed that among the 4 supervisors from the heavenly mandate Sacred Academy, there was a white-bearded old man who seemed to nod and smile at him. Who is this old man? Long Yu's expression did not change, but his heart was moved. The 4 supervisors had always been serious in speech and manner. But now, that white-bearded old man actually smiled at Long Yu. Did this mean something? Long Yu did not think too much about it, because immediately after, Xuanji Shanhai began to announce the rules of the next round of the Sacred Selection. The next round of the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection will be the last round. This round will determine your final victory and defeat. It is exceptionally cruel, and most importantly, Xuanji Shanhai said lightly, you are not the only ones participating in this round. As soon as these words came out, everyone present was shocked. Not only the 400 of them, then other than them, who else would participate? Chapter 347. Following Xuanji Shanhai's words, everyone began to speculate. Who would be joining them in the next round? Could he be a martial arts cultivator participating in the Southern Academy of Heavenly Mandate or the Eastern Academy of Heavenly Mandate? Or was he a disciple of the younger generation of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate realm? They cannot guess it, but Xuanji Shanhai did not hide it. He said straightforwardly, the next round of the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection will be held at the Dragonbone Tower. Many disciples who originally belonged to the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate will enter the tower at the same time as you. The ancient Dragonbone Tower, a disciple of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate realm. The crowd burst into an uproar when they heard this. Although they didn't know what the Dragonbone Tower was, there were many disciples who originally belonged to the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Academy who entered the tower this time. This obviously meant that they were facing fierce competition. Give me a simple explanation. Xuanji Shanhai raised his hand to silence everyone. He then explained, the ancient Dragonbone Tower is a dilapidated building from another world. It's located between the 17th and 18th levels of the Heavenly Dipper realm. The interior of the ancient Dragon Skeleton Tower is an independent space. So far, we've explored a total of 6 levels. There are many treasures from other worlds in these 6 levels. A dilapidated building from another world? Everyone was clearly puzzled when they heard that. The ancient Dragonbone Tower, the dilapidated structure from an alternate world, actually appear between the 17th and 18th levels of the Heavenly Dipper rankings. It was clear that heading to the ancient Dragonbone Tower would not be an easy task. Without a doubt, Bei Qianni, the head of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate realm, would definitely appear again to build a bridge and bring everyone to the Dragonbone Tower. Of course, there are treasures and fortuitous encounters in the ancient Dragon Skeleton Pagoda. Naturally, there will be dangers as well. Xuanji Shanhai continued. The first floor of the ancient pagoda can be entered at any time, anywhere. There is nothing left to explore. Starting from a second level of the ancient tower, it is not easy to enter. Every 7 years, the gate leading to the second level of the ancient tower will be opened. Because of this, the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection is held once every 7 years. Every time the door is opened, it will not be open for more than a month. After a month, the door will close. If you're still in the ancient pagoda, you will not be able to come out. Do you understand? Everyone naturally understood what Xuanji Shanhai meant. They could only stay in the Dragonbone Tower for a month. After a month, they had to come out. Otherwise, even Bei Qianni, the head of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate, could not save them. Next, I will explain this ancient Dragon Skeleton Tower in detail. Xuanji Shanhai began to give a lengthy introduction. It turned out that the Dragonbone Ancient Tower was discovered by the seniors of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate realm in the Tiangang level a long time ago. They entered the tower and obtained many treasures from the other world. Before long, everything on the first floor of the ancient Dragon Skeleton Tower had been plundered clean. The discovery of the second floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower happened a few years later. Someone happened to be seeking refuge in the ancient Dragonbone Tower and discovered that the door to the second floor was open. Out of curiosity, he stepped in. From then on, they discovered that there were still some creatures from another world left in the higher levels of the Dragonbone Tower. Their combat strength was rather brutal. The higher the level of the otherworld creatures, the more terrifying their strength. So far, the highest number of people had reached the 6th floor of the ancient Dragon Skeleton Tower. On the 6th floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower, any creatures from another world that appeared would be as powerful as a worldly elite or a worldly elite. There were 6 levels in the worldly elite realm. Worldly elite realm, worldly elite realm, human tribulation realm, worldly elite realm, worldly elite realm, heavenly tribulation realm. The difference between each level was even greater than the difference between each level of the true spirit realm. Even someone like Ji Tianxi belonged to the weakest level, the worldly elite realm. On the 6th floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower, none of the 400 people who participated in the selection of saints could deal with creatures from another world that had reached the worldly elite realm. Moreover, it was said that there was a 7th floor in the ancient Dragonbone Tower. It was just that no one who entered the 7th floor had ever returned. Even the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm Chief, Bei Qianni, who had entered the worldly elite realm a long time ago, did not dare to head to the 7th floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower carelessly. Every time the ancient Dragonbone Tower opens, the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm will send around 500 worldly elite cultivators in to explore. In the end, less than 150 people will come out. Xuanji Shan Hai glanced at the crowd and said plainly, "The ancient Dragonbone Tower is fraught with danger. There's a high chance of losing your life. If you're afraid of death, you can give up now." Of course, giving up on entering the ancient Dragonbone Tower means giving up on the chance to join the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. You can think about it carefully. Less than 150 people came out of 500 people who entered. It seemed that the mortality rate in the ancient Dragonbone Tower was as high as 70%. Moreover, even a powerful cultivator like Bei Tianni would not be able to protect the worldly elite cultivators who entered the ancient Dragonbone Tower. Otherwise, there would not be such a high mortality rate. Once they entered the ancient Dragonbone Tower, they could only rely on themselves and hope for the best. There were probably only a handful of worldly elite cultivators who could disregard their own life and death. Some people, such as Yu Qianning, did not think much about joining the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm in the first place. To them, it was not worth it to lose their lives just for a chance to join the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. However, some people saw even more opportunities in the process. Although the ancient Dragonbone Tower was dangerous, there were countless opportunities hidden within as well. Many treasures from another world were waiting for them to discover. If they were lucky, wouldn't they be able to obtain something good from within and greatly increase their strength? At that moment, everyone began to ponder whether they should enter the ancient Dragonbone Tower. "Longyu, are you going in?" Man Xin asked Longyu. Of course. Longyu nodded without hesitation. To him, joining the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm was a goal that he had to achieve. He had to know what had happened to his father, Long Zaiqian, after coming to the Northern Academy. Haha, I think the same. Man Xin laughed heartily, but his eyes were filled with worry. My entire family is waiting for me to report the good news. If I don't join the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm, my entire family will be in trouble. So, I have to give it a try no matter what. That was indeed the case. Not to mention the fact that he had offended the little prince of Gumeng, Meng Duo Kai. The past events alone were enough to put the entire Man family in an extremely difficult situation. If he could join the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm, everything would change. Man Xin had to give a try for this opportunity. As for Yin Huanma, she wanted to know where her brother was now, so the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm was the place she had to enter. Elder Yin, If your brother joins the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm, you might be able to see him in this round. Long Yu narrowed his eyes and suddenly said, the opportunity to enter the ancient Dragonbone Tower in this round was not only a chance for them to participate in the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection, but also a chance for the disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. It's been so long. I wonder how he is now, Yin Huanma thought her brother. Back then, her brother killed her father, left the family, and joined the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. It had been 14 years since then. During these 14 years, the entire Yin family had declined and ceased to exist. Yin Huanmo, on the other hand, was still searching for her brother. There would be many disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm entering the ancient Dragonbone Tower in this round. Maybe Yin Huanma's brother would really be among them. I'll give you 3 days to think about it. It's up to you to decide whether to stay or leave. Xuanji Shanhai turned around and left. More than 400 people were whispering to each other as they dispersed. 3 days later, less than half of the martial arts practitioners gathered in the square of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. No matter how he counted, there were only a little over 190 people. More than 200 people chose to retreat and leave the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. Many of those who retreated knew that it was impossible for them to join the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. There was no need for them to take the risk. Moreover, they had gained a lot from the sand table of the Heavenly Mandate Realm and had the mentality to quit while they were ahead. Moreover, they would be entering the ancient Dragonbone Tower together with many disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. The disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm were definitely much stronger than them. If a conflict broke out after entering the ancient Dragonbone Tower, they would most likely be the unlucky ones. After considering all the reasons, there were only 190 people left who wanted to enter the ancient Dragonbone Tower. Xuanji Shanhai appeared in front of the crowd and glanced at them. When he saw Long Yu, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Very good. The rest of you did not disappoint me. Next, I'll explain the rules for calculating the score for this round. If Long Yu had run away, Xuanji Shanhai would have sent someone to kill him and be done with it. Now that Long Yu was about to enter the ancient Dragonbone Tower, Xuanji Shanhai had made enough arrangements even though it would be a little troublesome to deal with him. The rules were soon announced. There were many treasures from the otherworld buried in the ancient Dragonbone Tower. These treasures were divided into several levels by the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. Treasures of a certain level would be graded accordingly. The higher the level of the treasure, the more points it could bring to the martial arts practitioners. According to the rules, half of these treasures had to be handed over to the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. I wonder what the treasures from the otherworld are like and what use they have. Long Yu was a little puzzled. He had seen the beasts from the otherworld, which were indeed very different from the lives in this world. He wondered what the treasures from the otherworld were like. In any case, Long Yu should be able to see them very soon. Then, another group of people rushed toward the square of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm from other directions. There were hundreds of them, talking and laughing, and it was very lively. The disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm are here. Beside Long Yu, many people pointed at the group and whispered to each other. The disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. Long Yu turned his head and looked in that direction. At a glance, he saw that the person in the lead was the one who had snatched the little fox Chihua, Xuanji Tianxin. Sure enough, he's here. Long Yu narrowed his eyes, and beside Xuanji Tianxin, a devilish red-haired man wearing a mask also attracted Long Yu's attention. From this devilish red-haired man, Long Yu felt a familiar aura. Chapter 348. Long Yu narrowed his eyes. He recalled the time when he was with Chihua, the little fox demon, and found that Chihua's aura was exactly the same as that of the devilish red-haired man beside Xuanji Tianxin. It's really Chihua. Long Yu was almost certain. Before, Long Yu didn't know what level Xuanji Tianxin belonged to among the warriors of the Heavenly Being's secret realm. But now he could tell that Xuanji Tianquan was definitely stronger than warriors of the heavenly being's secret realm like Ji Tianqi. Ji Tianqi, by Shenying, Eater Gentleman, and the others were all martial arts cultivators of the human initial realm. Xuanji Tianquan, on the other hand, had already stepped into the Renoir realm. His basic strength alone was more than 2 or 3 times stronger than the martial arts cultivators of the human initial realm. At this moment, Xuanji Tianquan stood in front of the disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm and walked toward them with a proud expression. He glanced at the crowd and saw Long Yu in the crowd. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly, showing an amused expression, like a cat chasing a mouse. Are they going to attack me after entering the ancient Dragonbone Tower? Long Yu thought to himself, but he didn't show it on the surface. He carefully observed the more than 300 people walking toward him. They were all disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm, and there were more than 40 of them who had stepped into the heavenly being's secret realm. In particular, there were 4 people who, like Xuanji Tianquan, were top geniuses who had already stepped into the Renoir realm. The 5 of them, including Xuanji Tianquan, were the strongest of the younger generation of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm. These are the disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm. They will go to the ancient Dragonbone Tower with you. Xuanji Shanhai glanced at Xuanji Tianquan with appreciation in his eyes, and then said to everyone, "And among you, the top 12 with the highest overall score will also be able to become a member of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm." The young martial arts cultivators who were going to the ancient Dragonbone Tower were all under 30 years old. Martial arts cultivators who could step into the heavenly being's secret realm were all considered geniuses to the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm. For example, Ji Qianqi could be ranked among the top 10 young experts, even in the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm. Therefore, the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm would certainly accept him as a disciple. However, it was not so easy for those at the 9th tier of the secret realm of True Spirit to join the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm. They had to compete fiercely in order to get a place. Of course, for Long Yu, the quota was already right in front of him. As long as he could survive in the Dragonbone Tower, it would be easy for him to join the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate with his score of more than 100. However, the prerequisite was that he could survive in the ancient Dragonbone Tower. Once he entered the Dragonbone Tower, no one would be able to protect him. Even the 4 supervisors from the other academies of the Heavenly Mandate Academy would not be able to see what was going on in the Dragonbone Tower. If he wanted to survive, Long Yu could only rely on himself. And in the ancient Dragonbone Tower, the danger mainly came from 2 aspects. First, the people of Xuanji Shanhai and some of Long Yu's original enemies might attack him, especially Brother Barbarian and Reverence Eagle. Second, the danger of the ancient Dragonbone Tower itself. It was said that some exotic beasts from other worlds would appear in the ancient Dragonbone Tower. Their combat power was extremely ferocious. If one were to encounter them, even martial arts cultivators of the same level might not be able to gain an advantage. No matter what, in the ancient Dragonbone Tower, I can find an opportunity to unleash my power to my heart's content and try out the power of the Yu character. Long Yu thought to himself. He did not hesitate too much. No matter what, he was already prepared to face everything when he set foot in the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Academy. Now that the final round was about to arrive, there was no reason for him to shrink back. The treasures from other worlds in the ancient Dragonbone Tower are divided into 5 levels. First level treasures are worth 10 points, second level treasures are worth 20 points, and so on. After Xuanji Shanhai finished explaining the rules, he invited the head of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Academy, Bai Tian. Bai Tian, he was dressed in a white robe with a green lotus embroidered on his chest. His white hair fluttered in the wind, and he looked like a sage with an extraordinary artistic conception. He descended from the sky and came before the crowd. He glanced at the crowd and saw Long Yu. It was not the first time he had seen Long Yu, but this was the first time he looked at Long Yu in the eye. It was obvious that Long Yu's performance in the previous round had surprised Bai Tianyi. However, no matter what, he would never admit that Long Yu was his grandson. Furthermore, Bai Tian Yi did not want Long Yu to join the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Academy. Once that happened, his daughter Bai Yuyao would have a reason to look for Long Zaiyan. No one knew where Long Zaiyan was now, not even Bai Tian Yi. However, if Bai Yuyao went to look for Long Zaiyan, it would be extremely dangerous. He did not want his daughter to leave the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Academy and be in danger. Therefore, Bai Tian Yi would definitely not be happy to see Long Yu emerge victorious from the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection. Bai Tian Yi had no intention of interfering with their trip to the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. Now that he had appeared, it was only to bring them to the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. In the entire Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Academy, there were only a few who could build the Heavenly Spirit Bridge and go to the ancient Dragon Bone Tower between the 17th and 18th levels of the Heavenly Spirit Realm. Bai Tian Yi was one of them. "Everyone, come with me." Bai Tian Yi raised his hand, and the crowd saw a flash of the power of the divine characters in his hand. Then, it condensed into a ray of light. This ray of light gradually condensed into a bridge-like passageway that went all the way up into the sky. The bridge of light penetrated through several layers of astral winds and went straight to the place between the 17th and 18th levels. The white-robed messengers who had brought the crowd to the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Academy also appeared around the crowd once again, each taking out their flying weapons. These white-robed messengers had already sent those martial arts practitioners who had decided to withdraw back to the Heavenly Mandate continent. Now that they had returned, they were going to send the rest to the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. Long Yu stood on the flying carpet once again. "Long Yu, you're good, but it's hard to say if you'll still be so lucky after this." Mondakai, the little prince of ancient Ming, mocked Long Yu sinisterly as he got on the flying carpet. "It seems that the punch from last time didn't teach you a lesson," Long Yu said plainly. Mondakai laughed sinisterly when he heard that. "You can try again in the ancient Dragon Bone Tower." Long Yu was not in the mood to pay attention to such a guy, so he ignored him. He looked up and saw Xuanji Tianxun and the little fox demon Chihua, who had transformed into a demonic red-haired youth not far away. They each took to the air and followed the bridge of light that came out, flying all the way up into the sky. The little fox demon Chihua, who had entered the celestial secret realm, could take human form, but he still could not hide his aura. Long Yu recognized him at a glance. At this moment, the red-robed, red-haired young man, Chihua, lowered his head and glanced at the flying carpet that Long Yu was on. No one knew what he was thinking. Long Yu did not think too much about it. Although he did not know what Chihua had encountered these days, it was a good thing that he had entered the celestial secret realm. "Xuanji Tianxun is my opponent." Long Yu thought to himself, "Chihua, I don't need you to come back and continue to follow me. Just don't stop me when I deal with Xuanji Tianxun." After not seeing him for 2 years, Long Yu did not know what Chihua was thinking. After all, Long Yu and Chihua had only been together for a short time. He had only brought him out of the Ghost Valley of Heavenly Souls. If there was any deep feelings between them, there was really nothing. Now, Long Yu only remembered Xuanji Tianxun's arrogant and contemptuous attitude that day. As long as Long Yu found the opportunity, he would not hesitate to kill Xuanji Tianxun. Of course, Xuanji Tianxun was now a cultivator in the Renoir realm. It was almost impossible for Long Yu to deal with Xuanji Tianxun on his own. However, the ancient Dragon Skeleton Tower was not a safe place. There were thousands of ways to deal with someone here. The only thing that Long Yu needed to be careful of was that, just like how he wanted to deal with Xuanji Tianxun, there were more people who wanted to deal with Long Yu in the Dragon Bone Tower. There were also many ways to deal with Long Yu. Long Yu had to be careful at all times. There were more than 500 people in the group. They rose up along the glowing bridge. Soon, Long Yu found that the flying carpet had passed through several glowing barriers. The buildings of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate realm quickly disappeared from his sight. The 17th level of the Heavenly Dipper, Long Yu counted in his heart. To get to the Dragon Bone Tower from the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate realm, one had to pass through 7 levels of the Great Wall. If it were not for Bai Tianyi's glowing bridge, Long Yu would not have been able to pass through all 7 levels of the Great Wall by himself. After all, only cultivators in the initial human realm of the Davis Secret Realm could pass through the first level of the Great Wall. Each level of the Great Wall was stronger than the one before it. It was extremely difficult to pass through 1,000 levels of the Great Wall and leave the Heavenly Mandate continent. We've reached the 17th level, but there's still a short distance to go before we reach the Dragon Bone Tower. Follow me, everyone. Soon, the group stopped after passing through the 17th level of the Great Wall. Bei Qianni led the group through the 2 layers of the heavenly astral glow world, advancing in a certain direction. Long Yu looked around and saw that all around him was the glow of the Great Wall. The great wind of the Great Wall filled the sky, forming a beautiful scene. It's the great wind of the Heavenly Mandate continent that covers the entire Heavenly Mandate continent, making it impossible for the martial arts cultivators of the Heavenly Mandate continent to leave. I wonder what level I have to reach to be able to leave the Heavenly Mandate continent. As Long Yu thought about it, he shook his head. As long as he could continue living with the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds, he would be able to leave the Heavenly Mandate continent sooner or later. Right now, there was no need for him to think too much about such things. All he needed to do was focus on what was before him. The Dragon Bone Tower might be the place where he would step into the Davis Secret Realm. Unless there's a special opportunity, I'll have to step into the Davis Secret Realm to deal with Xuanji Tianxin. If there's a chance in the Dragon Bone Tower, I'll have to try to break through to the Davis Secret Realm. Long Yu thought. Then, the group looked up and saw an ancient tower-like building covered in bones in the distance. Bones, it's the bones of a dragon. Chapter 349. It was a feeling of familiarity. When Long Yu laid his eyes on the ancient Dragon Bone Tower, he felt as if the tower had been born for him and existed because of him. It was the dragon seal of the 9 underworld on his chest that gave him such a feeling. This ancient Dragon Bone Tower has something to do with the dragon seal of the 9 underworld. Long Yu thought to himself as he frowned slightly. There were simply too many secrets regarding the dragon seal of the 9 underworld, and none of them had been unraveled until now. He hoped that he would be able to discover something in the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. Soon, a total of more than 500 people arrived at the entrance of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower under the lead of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm Cultivators. Long Yu and the others were standing on their flying weapons, while Xuanji, Tianxin, Ji Tianxi, and the other celestial being realm experts took the initiative to fly over. Their carefree and easygoing manner made the other martial cultivators who had not reached the celestial being realm feel envious. This is the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. When the crowd arrived at the bottom of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower and looked up, they realized that the dilapidated ancient tower floating high in the sky above the 17th level was hundreds of feet tall. They could not see the top of the tower at a glance. The ancient dragon skeleton tower floated in front of everyone like a mountain. At a glance, their vision was completely occupied by the dilapidated body of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. Even the astral winds of the sky could not be seen for a moment. The closer they got to the ancient tower, the more intimate Long Yu felt with it. The reaction of the dragon seal of the 9 underworld also became stronger and stronger, gradually becoming scorching hot. The entrance of this ancient tower is actually a space door. After entering, you will be transported to any place on the first level of the ancient tower. Where you will appear is completely up to luck. Xuanji Tianhai stood at the entrance of the ancient tower and explained, "There is nothing on the first level. You must find a passage to the second level as soon as possible. It is not difficult to find a passage. There are hundreds of passages leading to the second level in the vast space of the first level. You will be able to find it easily once you reach the second level." After entering the second floor, the difficulty has just begun. The space in this ancient pagoda should be a space from another world. Every floor has strange beasts of corresponding strength. If you want to obtain the treasures inside, you will have to face these strange beasts. The difficulty is not small. Most importantly, the power of some of the laws of heaven and earth that you have comprehended will be greatly reduced in the space of this ancient pagoda. The power of the laws of heaven and earth would be greatly reduced. In other words, in the ancient dragon skeleton tower, the difference in strength between rank 9 true spirit martial cultivators and heaven realm initial human realm experts would be reduced to a certain extent. This ancient dragon bone tower does not belong to this world of the heavenly mandate continent. Of course, the laws of heaven and earth of this world cannot be fully unleashed in the space of the ancient tower. Of course, the power of heaven and earth of this world will not be able to be fully exerted in the space of the ancient tower. In this way, it should not be a problem for him to deal with ordinary initial human realm, celestial realm experts. Perhaps he could really defeat someone like Ji Tianqi. Moreover, ordinary laws of heaven and earth would be suppressed, but Long Yu had comprehended the laws of the 9 underworlds. The laws of the 9 underworlds were the strongest laws of the heavenly mandate continent and even the divine battle world. Most importantly, they were derived from the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds. Now that the ancient dragon bone tower had a close attraction to the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds, the laws of the 9 underworlds might even be strengthened in the ancient tower. All this while, Long Yu had only comprehended a sliver of the will of the 9 underworlds laws. In the outside world, the power of this sliver of will would definitely not be comparable to the laws of Yin, which had long reached the domain level. However, in the ancient dragon bone tower, that might not necessarily be the case. Perhaps I will have to use the will of the 9 underworlds in this ancient tower, Long Yu thought. The group stepped into the entrance of the ancient Dragonbone Tower one after another. Long Yu, I didn't expect you to make it here alive. It was not easy. I hope you'll be able to leave the ancient tower alive. Just as Long Yu was about to step into the ancient Dragonbone Tower, Xuanji Tianxun, who was dressed in a golden robe, mocked him with disdain. Long Yu turned around and glanced at Xuanji Tianxun, but he did not take it to heart. He merely glanced at Qihua, who was at the side. The devilish red-haired youth, Qihua, wore a mask. At this moment, he seemed to also glance at Long Yu and nodded slightly, but did not say anything. That nod let Long Yu know that Qihua still recognized him, but it was probably not convenient for him to speak to him for the time being. Was he threatened by Xuanji Tianxun? This thought suddenly popped up in Long Yu's mind. The more he thought about it, the more likely it seemed. It was very likely that Xuanji Tianxun had used something like poison to threaten Qihua. No matter what, I will find out the truth. Long Yu thought to himself as he turned and stepped into the entrance of the ancient Dragonbone Tower. He was not the first to step into the ancient Dragonbone Tower, nor would he be the last. However, after he stepped through the entrance, he seemed to have passed through space and arrived in an ancient hall filled with strange vines. Regardless of whether it was the martial cultivators who entered before him or after him, they were all nowhere to be seen. There were many passageways leading to other places in the ancient hall. The walls were filled with strange vines, and the entire hall was dark green. This is the feeling. Long Yu scanned his surroundings and did not see any other martial cultivators. The feeling this ancient hall gave him was the same as the withered exotic beasts he had encountered previously. It was filled with the aura of those beasts. Those withered exotic beasts couldn't have been captured from this ancient Dragonbone Tower, could they? Long Yu thought to himself, but he did not stay where he was. There was nothing on the first floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower. He had to find the entrance to the second floor as soon as possible. As that thought flashed through his mind, he felt the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds on his chest become hotter, as if it was guiding him in a certain direction. The dragon seal of the 9 underworlds is indeed related to this ancient tower. But what does it have to do with those withered exotic beasts? Long Yu could not figure out the answer to this question. He could only give up for now and follow the guidance of the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds to the second floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower. He left the ancient hall that was filled with dark green vines and advanced along the ancient passageway, that was also filled with vines. Before long, he found a staircase covered by vines that led straight to the next floor. It's actually a staircase. Long Yu was a little surprised. He thought that the entrances to the next floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower were all spatial doors like the entrance to the ancient Dragonbone Tower. He looked along the staircase, but he could not see the end at all. All he could see were countless vines growing on the dark green staircase, covering the original material of the staircase. He could not see it at all. It was pitch black at the top of the staircase. Long Yu did not think too much about it and stepped onto the staircase. The moment he stepped onto the staircase, he felt as if the dark green vines on the staircase had come to life, waving around like the hands of demons. At the same time, a familiar aura approached him. It's the withered exotic beasts. Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He raised his hand and conjured the Yellow Springs barrier. The chi of the 9 underworlds was sufficient to suppress the withered exotic beasts. Long Yu had long made up his mind to conjure the Yellow Springs barrier to defend himself the moment he encountered danger. Immediately after, a heavy blow came from the darkness and landed heavily on the Yellow Springs barrier. However, the Yellow Springs barrier wasn't damaged at all. Instead, the withered branch exotic beasts that attacked him seemed to have encountered their natural enemy. They quickly retreated and hid in the darkness, disappearing without a trace. There are withered exotic beasts lying in ambush on the staircase, but they are only at the 6th or 7th level of the martial path, nothing to be afraid of. From this, it seems that there are many withered exotic beasts on the 2nd floor of this ancient pagoda. Long Yu thought to himself as he took large strides towards the staircase, heading forward. It was pitch black in front of the staircase, and the aura of the withered exotic beasts only increased. Long Yu kept his eyes on the Yellow Springs barrier and did not encounter any more attacks along the way. He easily walked to the end of the staircase and stepped out, arriving at another ancient hall. This ancient hall was the same as when he first entered the ancient pagoda, covered in dark green vines. Long Yu could sense that there were many withered exotic beasts hidden in these dark green vines. However, they seemed to be afraid of the Yellow Springs barrier on him, so they did not attack Long Yu. The withered exotic beasts I saw before were all gray withered branches, but these exotic beasts are completely indistinguishable from the dark green vines. Long Yu found it a little strange, but he did not think too much about it. Now that he had arrived at the 2nd floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower, it was time to start looking for treasures from the other world. He wondered if these treasures would be of any use to him. Since the withered exotic beasts did not cause trouble for him, that was exactly what Long Yu wanted. Long Yu directly traversed the 2nd floor of the ancient pagoda. Occasionally, a few ignorant withered exotic beasts would jump out, but they were all killed by Long Yu. The beasts on the 2nd floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower were only at the 6th or 7th level of the true spirit realm. To Long Yu, they could not even withstand a single blow. The entire ancient Dragonbone Tower was like a maze that extended in all directions. Moreover, the walls were covered in dark green vines, giving off an extremely ancient aura. Long Yu traversed the maze-like ancient pagoda, but before he could find any treasures from the other world, he met someone else. He came to a hall and saw a tall and burly young martial cultivator slaughtering those withered exotic beasts at the 6th and 7th level of the true spirit realm. Long Yu happened to recognize this person, Su Qiangyi. Long Yu saw the other party, and the other party naturally saw Long Yu as well. Long Yu, Su Qiangyi's eyes were bloodshot. The ground was filled with the corpses of withered exotic beasts. When he turned around and saw Long Yu, a sinister smile appeared on his face. Long Yu, you killed my border city guard vice commander. I, Su Qiangyi, will avenge him. Chapter 350. As for Su Qiangyi, Long Yu had seen him for quite some time. Back when he had first arrived at the northern sea border city and queued up to participate in the border city martial meet organized by the 10,000 Arrows sect, he had seen Su Qiangyi when he registered. This guy had used his cultivation and identity to break the arm of another innocent martial cultivator. From then on, Long Yu did not have a good impression of Su Qiangyi, but he had never fought with him head-on. Who would have thought that Su Qiangyi would block Long Yu the moment he arrived in the Dragon Bone Tower? Long Yu, you're dead meat. A bloodthirsty look flashed in Su Qiangyi's eyes as he exuded a ferocious aura, knocking away the withered exotic beasts that were attacking him. With his strength in the rank 9 true spirit realm, these withered exotic beasts in the rank 6 and rank 7 true spirit realm were no match for him. After knocking away the withered exotic beasts, Su Qiangyi immediately charged at Long Yu. He threw a punch through the air, and his ferocious aura condensed into a fist wind that blasted at Long Yu. You're quite confident. Long Yu's lips curled up. How could he not know that Su Qiangyi was just testing him? Dragon Sparrow Instant Flight. The pitch-black wings on Long Yu's back spread out, allowing him to explode with terrifying speed from stationary state. In the blink of an eye, he had arrived behind Su Qiangyi. Drunken Yellow Springs. Long Yu threw a backhand punch at Su Qiangyi's back, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood and fall heavily to the ground. With just one move, Long Yu had knocked Su Qiangyi to the ground. However, this was also because Long Yu's Dragon Sparrow Instant Flight was so terrifying that Su Qiangyi had no time to react. When Su Qiangyi attacked him, Long Yu knew very well that Su Qiangyi was just testing him. After all, even Xuanji Shanhai had said that he, Long Yu, had the strength to fight against a Celestial Realm expert. Moreover, everyone already knew the flaw of his strongest martial skill. This Su Qiangyi clearly wanted to probe Long Yu. Unfortunately, Long Yu simply wouldn't give him the chance to probe. He exploded forth with unparalleled speed and directly smashed him to the ground. Su Qiangyi spat out a mouthful of blood as he struggled to crawl up from the ground. However, the netherworld chi was wreaking havoc in his body, making it impossible for him to stand up. What happened to me? Long Yu asked faintly. If not for his sudden burst of speed, Su Qiangyi might have turned and run after feeling that he couldn't beat him. Long Yu didn't want to waste time with him, so he directly dealt with him in one move. Against ordinary rank 9 true spirit martial cultivators, the current Long Yu did not need to spend much effort at all. Su Qiangyi seemed to want to say something, but his heavy injuries made it impossible for him to say a complete sentence. He was very regretful. He didn't expect Long Yu's battle prowess to be so strong. He thought that if Long Yu didn't dare to use his strongest martial skill, he would still be able to contend with Long Yu. However, he didn't expect that he couldn't even see Long Yu's speed. Finally, Su Qiangyi swallowed his last breath and lost his life. If you want to kill someone, you naturally have to be prepared to be killed. Long Yu looked at Su Qiangyi's corpse, not feeling any pity at all. He raised his head and looked around. He saw that after the withered tree beasts sensed his aura, they all retreated, not daring to fight him at all. I just used the drunken Yellow Springs. The aura of the netherworld, chi, seems to be a little too dense. Long Yu knew that these withered tree beasts were more afraid of the aura of the netherworld chi. He ignored them and continued on his way, leaving Su Qiangyi's corpse behind. The second level of the Dragon Bone Tower seemed to be quite spacious. Long Yu walked through it and didn't find any treasures. Instead, he met many disciples who were also here to participate in the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection, or were already disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. Although these martial cultivators saw Long Yu, they didn't cause him trouble. After all, not everyone had a grudge against him. The third level. Before long, Long Yu found the staircase that led to the third level of the Dragon Bone Tower according to the Dragon Seal of the Netherworld. The Yellow Springs Barrier. Before stepping onto the staircase, Long Yu formed the Yellow Springs Barrier as usual and surrounded himself. When he stepped onto the staircase, the withered tree beasts all over the staircase didn't have any intentions of doing anything to him, allowing him to smoothly climb the stairs all the way to the third level. Apart from Long Yu, the others definitely wouldn't have it so easy. Even though the stairs from the second level to the third level were only withered tree beasts at the 7th or 8th level of the true spirit realm, There were some upper 8th level beasts that were already a threat to martial cultivators at the 9th level of the true spirit realm. If they weren't careful, they might be killed. Under such circumstances, when Long Yu stepped onto the 3rd level of the ancient dragon skeleton pagoda, there were only a few people on the entire 3rd level. It wasn't easy to find the staircase to the 3rd level in the first place, not to mention that he had to pass through so many withered tree beasts. As soon as Long Yu stepped onto the 3rd level, he sensed the sounds of an intense battle nearby. It seemed that someone was fighting to the death with the withered tree beasts. Could it be someone I know? Long Yu thought to himself as he ran towards the source of the sounds of battle. After passing through a few tunnels, Long Yu arrived in front of an ancient palace. Looking inside, he saw a few martial cultivators fighting with withered tree beasts in the ancient palace. One of the withered tree beasts was extremely large, as if it was a combination of many withered tree beasts. Although its cultivation was only at the rank 8 true spirit, its strength was abnormally terrifying, far surpassing ordinary rank 8 true spirit martial cultivators, or even rank 9 true spirit martial cultivators. Feng Yao. Long Yu saw Feng Yao, who was dressed in a light green dress, working together with 3 other unknown martial cultivators to attack the gigantic withered tree beast. The other 3 martial cultivators were all disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm, and were all at the rank 9 true spirit. However, even if they joined forces with Feng Yao, they were still no match for the gigantic withered tree beast. The 4 of them were more or less injured, and they looked to be in an extremely sorry state. Attack. Long Yu thought for a moment and decided to attack. It was not that he wanted to save Feng Yao, but he had never seen such a gigantic withered tree beast before him. If there was any treasure in the ancient Dragon Bone Tower, it would most likely be guarded by such a rare and powerful creature. Obtaining the treasure was his biggest goal for this trip. Apart from that, if there was a chance, he would also have to deal with Xuanji Tianshan, find Chihua, and find out what exactly Chihua had encountered in the past 2 years. Kill. With a thought, Long Yu's entire body surged with murderous intent, and the chi of the netherworld condensed on his fist. Since using the chi of the netherworld was the most convenient and effective way to deal with the withered tree beast, he naturally would not use other powers. Just the power of the chi of the netherworld was enough. As he moved, he punched the ground. Immediately, a pillar of chi of the netherworld accumulated from the ground, and not long after, it condensed into a pillar of air and burst out. This pillar of chi of the netherworld directly blasted the gigantic withered tree beast, causing it to let out an ear-piercing shriek. Originally, the gigantic withered tree beast had the absolute upper hand when dealing with Feng Yao and the other 3. It had even almost killed the few martial arts cultivators several times. However, now that the gigantic withered tree beast had been blasted by the explosive stream of the netherworld, it had instantly become dispirited, and its combat power had dropped by more than a level. The situation had taken a turn for the better once Long Yu arrived. It's that Long Yu, a disciple of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm, saw Long Yu at first glance, but he did not take him seriously. He merely sneered and warned, "Long Yu, if you know what's good for you, get out of here. That's right, this gigantic withered tree beast is our trophy. If you don't get out of here, we'll treat you as our enemy." The other person also laughed contemptuously. The attitude of the 2 people surprised Long Yu a little. It was clear that he had appeared to save these guys, but they did not seem to appreciate it and even warned him to leave. "If it weren't for this move of mine, you wouldn't be a match for this beast," Long Yu said lightly. "It's none of your business." One of them sneered, "If you don't get out of here, we'll kill you first." "Sorry, I don't have time to talk nonsense with you." After saying that, Long Yu continued to punch the gigantic withered tree beast. Although this gigantic withered tree beast could deal with Feng Yao and the other 3 at the same time and was extremely strong, it was nothing compared to Long Yu, not to mention that the chi of the netherworld had a strong restraining effect on it. Long Yu punched the drunken underworld again, and the chi of the netherworld completely penetrated the gigantic withered tree beast, and then its entire body exploded. A gigantic withered tree beast, which was very difficult to kill for Feng Yao and the other three people, was actually killed by Long Yu with 2 punches. As the withered tree vines of this gigantic withered tree beast exploded into pieces, a bright little ball of light emerged from its body. What is this? Long Yu frowned slightly. The soul of the beast, get it quickly. At this moment, one of the disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm shouted and jumped toward the bright little ball of light as fast as he could. The soul of the beast? An idea came to Long Yu's mind. Without any hesitation, a pair of wings appeared behind him, and he flew toward the bright little ball of light at an extremely fast speed. His speed was much faster than that of the disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. In the blink of an eye, the bright little ball of light was caught by Long Yu and held in his hand. This gigantic withered tree beast was completely killed by Long Yu. If he had not appeared, it would not have been so easy for Feng Yao and the other 3 people to kill this beast, and maybe 1 or 2 of them would have died. Under such circumstances, Long Yu did not feel guilty at all for snatching the spoils. You dare to snatch our things? Seeing this, the young disciple of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm, who had jumped up directly, showed a touch of viciousness on his face. He turned and kicked at Long Yu, and a touch of divine text appeared on his foot. The power of the divine text? The disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm are really powerful, but I want to try the power of the fighting divine text. Chapter 351. Golden light radiated from the divine characters, and a majestic power surged toward Long Yu. Although we are both in the rank 9 true spirit, I have already comprehended 1,000th of the divine rune's power. How can you, a fellow who cannot comprehend the divine rune's power, fight against me? The disciple of the North Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm grinned hideously and raised his hand. The golden light of the divine characters descended and was about to envelop Long Yu. Long Yu didn't say a word of nonsense. No matter how good one's words were, it was not as convincing as using one's hands to speak. Facing the golden divine runes, Long Yu's moon true spirit appeared behind him. Then, the aura of the moon domain exploded outwards, and a boundless frost energy surged towards the golden divine runes. Boom! With a loud bang, the Tian domain collided violently with the golden light of the divine script. A powerful airflow erupted, sending the disciple of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate and Long Yu flying. Amazing! Long Yu activated the lunar wings and appeared. He steadied his mind and felt a little emotional. The power of this fighting divine character was indeed extraordinary. His opponent had only comprehended 1,000th of the power of the divine character, but was already able to match the might of Long Yu's lunar domain. If his opponent had comprehended 1% of the fighting divine rune's power, then Long Yu would not be a match for him unless he used his trump card. Unfortunately, one needed to be extremely talented to comprehend even 1% of the fighting divine character's power. A martial cultivator with this level of talent would most likely have already stepped into the celestial realm. Why would they still be stuck in the true spirit realm, painfully stuck at the bottleneck? Therefore, it was still the same sentence. Under the heavenly people's secret realm, Long Yu was invincible. Moon-killing blade light. Behind Long Yu, the true spirit of the moon of Tian flashed. Suddenly, beams of killing moon blade light were condensed, sweeping toward the disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm. What are you waiting for? The disciple of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm, who had released the golden light of the divine text, shouted. He had originally been fully confident that he could defeat Long Yu, but seeing Long Yu easily block the power of his golden divine runes, he had lost all confidence. He recalled Xuanji Shanhai's words. This Long Yu had a trump card that could even deal with a celestial realm expert. Although the trump card martial skill had a fatal flaw, causing the user's body to freeze for a long period of time after executing it. He believed that Long Yu would not hesitate to execute it if his life was in danger. At that time, they would only be left with a dead end. What happened to Long Yu after his body stiffened had nothing to do with them. They only cared about their own lives and the exotic beast soul in Long Yu's hands. Hearing that person shout, the other two disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate made their moves, displaying powerful Xian-level martial arts techniques toward Long Yu. Only Feng Yao, seeing the three of them attacking Long Yu, surprisingly did not add insult to injury. Raising her head, she glanced at Long Yu and faintly smiled. Following that, she ignored the battle between Long Yu and the other three and walked towards the exit of the vast palace hall. Aren't you going to fight this person with us? He stole our exotic beast soul. The disciple of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm, who had released the golden light of the divine text, snorted when he saw that Feng Yao wanted to leave. Aren't you afraid that you will offend us because of this? What does it matter if I offend you? Feng Yao did not even turn her head. Her indifferent voice came back. What do I have to fear when I offend 3 people who are about to die? 3 people who are about to die. It turned out that Feng Yao was extremely confident in Long Yu's combat ability. At this moment, she did not even bother to stay with the 3 people because she knew that it was a dead end for her. Since the exotic beast soul had fallen into Long Yu's hands, it was better for her to leave early and look for other treasures. After all, there were many treasures in the ancient Dragon Bone Tower, and the exotic beast soul was not the only one. This girl has become much smarter. Long Yu looked at Feng Yao's departing figure and couldn't help but raise the corner of his mouth. At this moment, if Feng Yao dared to attack him, he would not mind killing her along with these people. Long Yu had tolerated Feng Yao over and over again. He had already spared her life for the sake of Feng Chang'e. If the other parties still wanted to take Long Yu's life, how could Long Yu tolerate it any longer? Humph! The 3 disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm all had ugly expressions on their faces. When they heard Feng Yao say that they were 3 people who were about to die, it was obvious that she did not take them seriously. Furthermore, she felt that Long Yu was extremely powerful. Let's kill this brat first and take back the exotic beast soul. Then, we'll catch up with that woman and let her have a taste of what power is. The disciple of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm, who had released the golden light of the divine text, said as he smiled evilly. It was obvious that he had some evil thoughts about Feng Yao. It was a pity that he was destined to never have the chance to leave this hall again, let alone do anything to Feng Yao. Just as Feng Yao had said, what was so scary about offending 3 people who were about to die? Long Yu faced the attacks of the 3 of them calmly. Heaven-suppressing Sun and Moon. These 2 true spirits of the Sun and Moon were released together. The Sun and Moon complemented each other, increasing the might of the extreme Yin domain by several layers. The moon-slaying blade swept out, and the 3 disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm were unable to resist. There's no one around. I'll try out the power of the Yu divine text first. Long Yu looked around. Seeing that Feng Yao had gone far away, he relaxed and prepared to use the power of the Yu divine text. There was no one around, so he did not need to be afraid of exposing this move. Furthermore, he could also understand how powerful the Yu divine text was, so that he could have an idea when he encountered a strong enemy. Let's use our means together and kill this guy. The 3 disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm were badly battered by Long Yu's moon-slaying blade. It was not easy for them to gather together, so they could resist it more easily. The 3 of them looked at each other and saw a murderous light in each other's eyes. Next, they were going to use their strongest techniques to kill Long Yu in a single blow. Divine text. The leader's golden light of the divine text reappeared and suddenly swept toward Long Yu. It carried an indomitable momentum, as if it was going to tear the entire space apart. As for the other 2, one wielded a saber while the other wielded a sword. Both of them emitted saber light and sword chi that blasted towards Long Yu. When they joined forces, They were like two raging dragons that wanted to devour Long Yu. Divine text appear. Long Yu carefully felt the power of the opponent's attack. He casually raised his hand and released the power of the Yu divine text through his palm. Yu. A series of black strokes were released from Long Yu's palm, gradually forming a nether character. Following this nether character rapidly expanded, and an incomparably deep 9 nether chi spread out from this nether character. If the density of the 9 serenities chi that Long Yu condensed when he usually used martial arts skills was 1, then at this moment, the density of the 9 serenities chi from the Yu character was dozens or even hundreds. Simply put, the power of the Yu character was more than 100 times stronger than the 9 serenities chi that Long Yu simply blasted out with a punch. What is this? The 3 disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm were all stunned. They saw Long Yu raise his hand and outline the Yu character, releasing a dark and strange aura. It was a bit like the means of the divine text, but it was obviously not as magnificent as the fighting divine text. Instead, it was extremely gloomy and strange. It's another kind of divine text. Be careful. The disciple of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm, who had comprehended the power of the divine text, had a better understanding of the nature of the power of the divine text. At this moment, he instantly felt the power of the Yu character was similar to the fighting character. Another kind of divine text power. The other 2 disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm were shocked. The divine text was a powerful power that they had no chance to comprehend, but now it appeared in the hands of a mere Long Yu. Kill. The 3 of them didn't think too much about it. Even in the face of the Yu character, they didn't flinch because they didn't want to. Otherwise, wouldn't it prove that they were dying in Feng Yao's words? The blade light, the sword shadow, and the golden light of the fighting character instantly blasted at the Yu character. At that moment, the gloomy and strange aura of the Yu character suddenly burst out, swallowing up the golden light of the fighting character. As for the blade light and the sword shadow, they were even more vulnerable. When they encountered the Yu character, they were annihilated. What? The 3 of them were even more shocked. They could clearly see that the power of the divine text that Long Yu had comprehended was far higher than that of the fighting character. Although it was also 1,000th of the Yu character, it was much stronger than the fighting character. Long Yu was in the same martial arts realm as them, and the power of the Yu character far exceeded that of the fighting character, so the scene in front of them was not surprising. Kill. Long Yu raised his hand, and a murderous look flashed in his eyes. The gloomy and strange power of the Yu character suddenly condensed into a beam of dark light, instantly piercing the heart of one of the disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. 1 person dead. Kill. The dark light reappeared, and the other person's head was also pierced by the power of the Yu character, unable to resist at all. Don't kill me. Spare me. Spare me. I have eyes but failed to recognize you. The remaining person was the one who had comprehended 1,000th of the power of the fighting character. When he saw the situation, he immediately trembled in fear and quickly knelt on the ground, begging for mercy from Long Yu. I can spare your life, but you have to answer a few questions of mine first. Long Yu landed on the ground with satisfaction and said calmly, "What is this exotic beast's soul that you speak of in my hand?" This was what he had been thinking about, and now he finally had the opportunity to ask. It is a type of treasure in the ancient Dragonbone Tower. It comes from giant exotic beasts, and the souls of these exotic beasts are the essence of their power. They can be converted into special spiritual chi for us to absorb, which can also improve our martial arts realm. The person answered quickly. What level is this treasure? Long Yu asked again. It is only a first-level treasure, and it only came from the 3rd level of the ancient Dragonbone Tower after all. This exotic beast soul is equivalent to a top-grade dark-level elixir. A top-grade dark-level elixir. Chapter 352. Long you had once obtained an elixir from the Advancement Divine Hall in the small world of the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table. After consuming it, he had stepped in the 9th tier of the Secret Realm. That elixir was only between Black Level Superior Grade and Black Level Superior Grade. Right now, the soul of the exotic beast that Long you had obtained was actually equivalent to a Black Level Superior Grade elixir. In other words, it was even more precious than the elixir from the Advancement Divine Hall. And such exotic beast soul was only a first-tier treasure in the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. If one brought the exotic beast soul out, one would receive an overall score of 10. Above that, there were even more precious second-tier treasures, third-tier treasures, and even fourth-tier and fifth-tier treasures. Doesn't that mean that there will be treasures equivalent to Earth-level elixirs in this ancient Dragonbone Tower? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat as he thought. This ancient Dragonbone Tower was indeed a place of wealth, no less than the small world of the Heavenly Mandate Sand Table. If luck was on his side, Long Yu could really try to step into the Heavenly Being realm here. At this moment, Long Yu suddenly felt a murderous intent emanating from the disciple of the Northern Academy in front of him. Then, a ray of golden light from the divine text flashed and charged towards him at lightning speed. Still trying to kill me? Long Yu could not help but sneer when he saw the ferocious expression on the disciple's face. This guy thought that Long Yu had launched a surprise attack because he was immersed in the news of the exotic beast soul. He did not expect that Long Yu's sensitivity to murderous intent was far greater than anyone else's. Long Yu had already felt the murderous intent from the disciple of the Northern Academy when he released it. And when he released that ray of golden light from the divine text, Long Yu was already prepared to deal with it. The power of the divine text condensed into a beam of black light that suddenly swept out, instantly dispersing the golden light from the divine text of the battle character. Then, the beam of black light from the divine text of the Northern Academy penetrated the dantian of the disciple. Originally, I didn't intend to spare your life. However, since you launched a sneak attack, I'll let you die a little faster. Long Yu sneered, raised his hand, and pressed down, directly withdrawing the power of the nether divine character. After this experiment, he knew that the power of the Yu character was much stronger than the fight character. Furthermore, with such a terrifying power, if Long Yu were to face an opponent like Brother Barbarian again, he would be able to handle it with ease. However, this was Long Yu's final trump card. If it wasn't necessary, Long Yu didn't want to use it. Leaving behind the corpses of the 3 disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm, Long Yu left the palace. He did not head in the direction that Feng Yao had gone, but followed the guidance of the Dragon Seal of the 9 underworlds to the next level. For Long Yu, being able to obtain a first-grade treasure on the 3rd level of the ancient Dragonbone Tower was not enough to satisfy him. Although the Beast Soul, just now, was equivalent to a top-grade dark-level elixir, compared to the spiritual chi that Long Yu needed to enter the heavenly realm, it was really a drop in the bucket. Breaking through from the rank 9 true spirit to the heavenly realm did not mean that one did not need to absorb the spiritual chi of heaven and earth to build up the body. On the contrary, to meet the requirements to break through to the heavenly realm, the spiritual chi of heaven and earth needed to be at least 10 times the amount needed to break through from the rank 1 true spirit to the rank 9 true spirit. Simply put, if Long Yu wanted to meet the requirements to break through to the heavenly realm, he needed at least 10 treasures like the beast souls. Searching on the 3rd level of the ancient Dragonbone Tower was not enough to satisfy Long Yu. His next target was the 4th level of the ancient Dragonbone Tower. From the 1st to the 3rd level, the familiar aura of the Dragon Seal of the 9 underworlds in this ancient tower is getting stronger. I hope that I can find something special when I reach the higher levels. Long Yu thought as he hurried on his way. As for the beast soul, he did not absorb it. Instead, he threw it directly into the space of 9 underworlds. After all, this was the result he had obtained in the ancient Dragonbone Tower. After he left, he could exchange it for a comprehensive score and gain the right to enter the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate. The entire space in the ancient Dragonbone Tower was very large. The possibility of any two people meeting each other was very small. As such, the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate was not worried that there would be experts in the ancient Dragonbone Tower handing over the treasures they had obtained to acquaintances so that their overall score would reach the standard required to enter the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate. Moreover, even if it was an expert in the heavenly realm, who could be sure that after handing over the treasures they had obtained, their score would still be within the top 12? As such a method of cheating was almost unrealistic. Most of the results in the ancient Dragonbone Tower were obtained by the martial arts cultivators themselves. It was basically impossible to rely on others. So far, Long Yu had only obtained one bee soul. This was a first-grade treasure. After handing it over, it was equivalent to a comprehensive score of 10 in the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection. However, when I leave the ancient Dragonbone Tower, I need to hand over half of the spoils to the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate. Long Yu suddenly thought of this. He then shook his head and did not think too deeply about it. No matter what, his most important task now was to collect treasures. As for whether he would use all of these treasures himself or exchange them for a comprehensive score and then hand over half of them to the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate, it all depended on how many treasures he had obtained on this trip. If Long Yu had obtained a lot of treasures, he could keep some of them for himself. It did not matter if his overall score was lower, as long as he could enter the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate. Moreover, he did not know if these bee souls were the same as elixirs in the outside world, where the effect would be halved after taking the second one. If that was the case, then it would be better to hand them over to the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate. Stop! Don't run! All of a sudden, Long Yu heard a series of shouts coming from the front. It seemed that a small group of people were chasing another person, and they were running towards him at an extremely fast speed. Such things were happening everywhere in the ancient Dragonbone Tower. Therefore, Long Yu did not want to pay attention to this group of people at first. However, he soon changed his mind. This was because he saw that the person being chased was actually the royal princess from the Tang Empire, Chu Huang. Chu Huang was wearing a snow-white silk robe. Her originally elegant and beautiful figure looked rather disheveled at this moment. She was running in the dark green corridor and happened to be running towards Long Yu. Did you steal something from someone else? Long Yu found it a little funny and asked from afar, Aren't you going to help me? Chu Huang looked a little happy when she saw Long Yu, but she did not hold much hope. After all, there was a cultivator of the celestial secret realm among the group of people chasing her. It was all thanks to the terrain of the ancient Dragonbone Tower that she was able to make it this far. She was entangled by many dark green vines and had relied on these vines to barely make it this far. However, it looked like the cultivator of the celestial secret realm was about to catch up with them. It would be difficult for her to escape. As for Long Yu, although it was said that he had the ability to kill a cultivator of the celestial secret realm, his trump card had a fatal flaw. After using it, his entire body would stiffen up for a long period of time, and he would not be able to move at all. I'll help you, but you have to give me half of the things in your hands. Long Yu caught sight of a few dazzling balls of light in Chu Huang's hands. They were the souls of exotic beasts. If you can stop them, I'll give all of them to you. So what? Chu Huang was very decisive. At this critical moment, she knew that she had to give up certain things. If she had not met Long Yu, or if Long Yu had not helped, she would not have been able to obtain a single one of these souls. Most importantly, her life might have been in danger. If Long Yu were to help her fend off the pursuers, that would undoubtedly be the best outcome for her. Furthermore, in order to prevent Long Yu from being unable to fend off the pursuers, Chu Huang would rather hand over all the souls of exotic beasts to Long Yu so as to divert their attention. That way, if Long Yu is unable to fend off the pursuers and she took the opportunity to escape, the pursuers would most likely not pursue her relentlessly. The princess is truly straightforward. Long Yu laughed. He was rather impressed by Chu Huang's boldness. To think that she could so decisively give up the souls of exotic beasts at such a critical moment. If it had been anyone else, they would not have been able to do it so easily. Here, Chu Huang quickly ran to Long Yu's side and casually threw all 4 souls of exotic beasts to Long Yu. Then, she quickly passed by Long Yu and ran into the distance. It turns out that you have no confidence in me. You just want to escape. Long Yu narrowed his eyes, but he did not care much because he had already felt the tyrannical power of the celestial being's secret realm warrior among the pursuers. It's by shunning. Long Yu immediately felt the aura of the other party. It was by shunning, whose aura was as sharp as a divine eagle. The celestial being's secret realm warrior from Chidu had already comprehended 1,000th of the power of the fighting character. In the small world of the heavenly mandate sand table, the god-worshipping eagle was unexpectedly attacked by Ji Tianqi and Yun Zhe. He was seriously injured and sent out, so he didn't get to see the scene of Long Yu breaking into the ultimate divine hall. However, after he heard about it later, he hated Long Yu even more. What right did a kid in the rank 9 true spirit have to snatch the ultimate palace? This was the place where even Bai Shanning was defeated. It's you. The worshipping god eagle flew over along the dark green corridor. When it saw Long Yu blocking its way, a ferocious glint appeared on its face. I didn't expect to see you here. What a coincidence. Yes, it is, Long Yu said lightly. He did not turn around and leave, because he knew that with his speed, there was no way he could escape by Shun Ying's pursuit. Dragon Sparrow instant space was fast, but it could only last for a short period of time. If he wanted to escape from a long distance, Long Yu could not compare with the celestial being's secret realm warriors. Therefore, the only thing he could do now was to face this celestial being's secret realm warrior from Chidu by shunning. Bai Shanning stared at Long Yu with a fierce look in his eyes. He stuck out his scarlet tongue and licked his lips. I heard that you defeated Brother Barbarian Tiger, that idiot. But if you think that I am as strong as that idiot, then you are gravely mistaken. Really? Long Yu asked indifferently as he glanced behind the worshipping god Eagle. Behind him, there were many disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm and 2 martial arts cultivators from Chidu. They were all in the 9th tier of the true Spirit Secret Realm. As soon as these people ran over and saw Long Yu holding 4 exotic beast souls, their eyes lit up. Chapter 353. Although Bai Shan Eagle was chasing after Chu Huang with the other rank 9 true spirit martial cultivators, they were obviously not on the same side. They just had a common goal, so there was no conflict. Once they took the beast souls, they would definitely fight with each other. Of course, with Bai Shan Eagle around, the others would not have much chance to take the beast souls. Since you can defeat that idiot Brother Barbarian, I will give you some respect. Bai Shan Eagle looked at Long Yu coldly. As he said this, a true spirit of the eagle appeared behind him. Bai Shan Eagle was an expert in the heavenly being Arcana realm, but he released his true spirit to deal with Long Yu. It was obvious that he really valued Long Yu. He overestimated that kid. If Brother Bai Shan Eagle released his true spirit, he would definitely defeat that kid in 3 moves. You overestimated him too much, didn't you? In my opinion, Brother Bai Shan Eagle can defeat that kid in 1 move. The 2 martial cultivators from Chidu looked at Long Yu and discussed with disdain. As for the other rank 9 true spirit martial cultivators, they were all ready to take action. Once there was a good chance, they would definitely rush out and snatch the strange bee soul in Long Yu's hands. You're too stupid. Even if this worshipping god eagle defeats me and snatches the exotic bee soul, will you be able to snatch it from his hands? Long Yu glanced at the disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm and laughed mockingly. Why don't we join forces and defeat this worshipping eagle? We can share the 4 exotic bee souls. Do we need to work together to defeat Bai Shan Eagle? One of the disciples said with disdain. If you die, we will deal with Bai Shan Eagle. All right. Long Yu laughed heartily. He actually raised his hand and directly threw out the 4 exotic beast souls. The direction in which he threw it was not where the god-worshipping eagle was, but where the disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm were. Baishin Eagle couldn't ignore the 4 beast souls and would definitely try to take them. That way, Long Yu would be able to reap the benefits. Take them. There was an uproar among the disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. A total of more than a dozen people were suddenly shocked, and then they quickly used their means. Xian Qi exploded from them, and all kinds of power of the laws of heaven and earth intertwined. Soon, the 4 beast souls were all taken by one of the disciples. It was not because this disciple of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm was powerful, but because Long Yu had tied the 4 souls of the exotic beast together. If he snatched one, he would definitely snatch the other 3. This was to make it easier for Long Yu to take the beast souls back. It would be much more convenient if he put them together, but if he took them separately, it would be much more trouble. Shun Eagle, worshipping God Eagle, was already prepared to deal with Long Yu and snatch the strange beast soul from his hands. But it never expected that Long Yu would make such a move. He immediately ignored Long Yu and turned around to kill the disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm. Hand over the exotic beast soul. A ruthless look appeared on the face of the god-worshipping eagle. He raised his hand, and the true spirit of the god-worshipping eagle behind him screeched and immediately flew toward the disciple of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm who had snatched the exotic beast soul. A fierce aura swept toward him. Let's fight him together. That disciple of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate waved his arm, and all the disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate joined forces. They had been together for far too long. It was very difficult for them to fall out with the worshipping god eagle just because of 4 exotic beast souls. At the end of the day, the attraction of the exotic beast souls was not enough for them to fall out with the worshipping god eagle. Suddenly, more than a dozen disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate joined hands and immediately changed their target to worship the eagle. All kinds of martial skills and combat weapons were thrown at the worshipping god eagle. However, with a cry from the divine eagle true spirit, these rank 9 true spirit martial skills and attacks were completely dispersed by the power of the laws that the worshipping eagle had comprehended. Divine characters. Several beams of golden light flashed. The disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate were all very talented. Among the dozen or so people, there were 4 or 5 who had comprehended 1,000th of the power of the fighting character. Divine characters? The worshipping god eagle saw this and sneered. How can the power of the divine characters you have comprehended compare to mine? Then he raised his hand, and a wave of golden light also flashed. Because he was a warrior of the secret realm of heavenly beings, the power of the divine characters he displayed was much stronger than that of a warrior of the rank 9 true spirit. He did not seem to be at a disadvantage even when fighting 1 against 5. The golden light of the divine characters collided in the air, and a strong airflow burst out. The disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate were all sent flying, but the worshipping god eagle was not affected much. Die! A fierce light flashed in the eyes of the worshipping god eagle. He raised his hand, and the divine eagle true spirit behind him screamed and flew toward one of the disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate. Its sharp claws crushed the head of the disciple. Let's attack together, or we will all die. The eyes of the disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate turned red, and each of them displayed their strongest moves. However, the gap between their martial arts realms was too big. The secret realm of heavenly beings was only 1 step away from them, but this 1 step was too difficult to cross. The worshipping god eagle fought steadily, and the most important thing was his own defense. He did not let any attack fall on him, and all the attacks were blocked by the divine eagle true spirit. Then, the divine eagle true spirit found an opportunity to launch a sneak attack, killing the disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate 1 by 1. Not long after, there were only 3 disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate left. They were covered in cold sweat, and they kept retreating. Under the slaughter of the worshipping god eagle, they had long lost confidence. We will give you the exotic beast souls. Let us leave. The three of them were covered in cold sweat, and they said to the worshipping god eagle, who was closing in, "Give it to me." The worshipping god eagle snorted coldly. "Here you go." One of the three threw 4 exotic beast souls to the worshipping god eagle. When the exotic beast souls left his hand, the three of them turned around and tried to escape, each displaying their martial arts techniques. At this moment, Long Yu, who had been watching the show leisurely, finally made his move. Dragon Sparrow instant space. The pitch-black wings on Long Yu's back unfurled, and his entire body transformed into a black streak of light. With lightning speed, he snatched the 4 exotic beast souls in his hand. Even the worshipping god eagle did not expect this at all. "Stop them. Don't let any of them escape." The worshipping god eagle's face darkened, and he immediately gave the order. Before this, there were 2 martial arts cultivators of the rank 9 true spirit who had been watching from the side. At this moment, they acted at the same time, stopping the 3 disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate who were trying to escape. As for the worshipping god eagle, he came in front of Long Yu. "Long Yu, you have guts. But if you think that you can exhaust my strength and defeat me by taking advantage of the situation, then you are too naive." The worshipping god eagle sneered. "Whether I am too naive or not, we will only know after we fight." The corners of Long Yu's mouth curled up slightly. Now that the worshipping god eagle was the only opponent left, it was the best time for him to make his move. So what if it was the Heavenly People's secret land? It was not as if Long Yu had never defeated someone from the Heavenly People's secret land before. Although this worshipping god eagle was stronger than Brother Barbarian, there was a limit to his strength. "Kill." At this moment, the worshipping god eagle's eyes were bloodshot. His murderous intent was boiling all over his body, which increased his combat effectiveness by a lot. For martial arts cultivators of the Heavenly People's secret land, the chi in their bodies was almost inexhaustible. It was not that using martial arts skills did not consume chi. It was that they recovered very quickly. The worshipping god eagle did not consume much chi just to deal with the dozen or so disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate, because he did not use any powerful martial arts skills. For him, martial arts cultivators of the rank 9 true spirit were too weak. The worshipping god eagle shouted, and the true spirit behind him glided toward Long Yu. Its eyes were bloodshot, as if it wanted to tear Long Yu into pieces with its sharp claws. So confident, Long Yu saw the true spirit of the worshipping god eagle flying toward him, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Wasn't this a great opportunity for him? Divine character. Ew. Let's see if you can directly destroy this true spirit. Long Yu's mind moved, and suddenly black lines wrapped around his palm, condensing into a stroke, and then formed a U character. The worshipping god eagle keenly noticed this, but before he could react, Long Yu's U character had already condensed into a beam of black light, shooting toward the true spirit of the worshipping god eagle. Poof! With a crisp sound, under the rapid shooting of the U character, the cry of the true spirit of the worshipping god eagle came to an abrupt stop. Its entire body was completely penetrated, and then filled with pitch-black chi of the underworld. Its entire body turned into a strange black color and gradually dissipated, defeated in one move. Since Long Yu had used the U character, of course, he did not intend to let the worshipping god eagle escape, nor did he intend to let the others escape. Drunken underworld, place of the transformative. A cold light flashed in Long Yu's eyes, and the chi of the underworld instantly spread out from his body, suddenly forming a Yellow Springs realm, enveloping everyone in it. In this Yellow Springs realm, even the worshipping god eagle felt an obvious oppression. What kind of realm is this? The worshipping god eagle's heart skipped a beat. He could feel that in this Yellow Springs realm, the power of any martial technique he used would be reduced by 20 to 30%. Under such circumstances, he might not be a match for Long Yu. Most importantly, Long Yu had used an unknown power of the divine characters to destroy his true spirit in one move. This had a huge impact on the worshipping god Eagle. At this moment, the worshipping god Eagle's Dantian felt like it was being overturned by a raging sea. His true spirit had been destroyed, and even his body had suffered great damage. This caused him to be unable to react for a moment. He needed time to recover, or at least to suppress the injuries caused by the destruction of his true spirit. The worshipping god Eagle was now very regretful. He knew that this kid Long Yu had some extraordinary methods, but he still let the true spirit charge straight towards Long Yu. Even those in the heavenly realm would not be able to destroy my true spirit so easily. The power of the divine characters this kid comprehended is too terrifying. Cold sweat trickled down the worshipping god Eagle's forehead. One wrong move, and he lost everything. The worshipping god Eagle did not expect that a moment of carelessness would cause him to fall into such an extremely difficult situation. Chapter 354. The chi of the netherworld spread across the entire area. Apart from the eagle, the remaining 2 Dragon Doe cultivators and 3 disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm were all shrouded in it. Their movements and Xianqi were all slowed down. When they saw that the true spirit of the worshipping god Eagle was defeated by Long Yu in a single move, their eyes widened in disbelief. This Long Yu was clearly a rank 9 true spirit martial cultivator like them. But why was he able to destroy the god-worshipping Eagle's god Eagle True Spirit in one move, while they could only be bitten to death by the god Eagle True Spirit? Blood Shadow of the Netherworld. Long Yu raised his hand and released his dark-level combat weapon. A blood-red whirlwind whistled and surrounded the eagle. The worshipping god Eagle was secretly healing his injuries. At this moment, he didn't dare to fight head-on. He could only fly backwards and retreat continuously. However, the 9 Nether Blood Shadow was like a maggot attached to a bone. It was like a gust of wind. Its speed was much faster than his flying speed. Most importantly, the eagle was shrouded by Long Yu's underworld realm, and the true spirit of the eagle was destroyed. The eagle's condition could not be worse. Suddenly, the 9 Nether Blood Shadow completely covered the body of the worshipping god Eagle, causing his entire body to turn blood red. The blood shadow of the netherworld began to suck the blood of the eagle. At this time, the eagle could not use too much power to resist. He suddenly screamed, and a wave of golden light emitted from his body. The power of the divine text. Long Yu squinted his eyes and saw the golden light emitted from the eagle's body. It actually forced the blood shadow of the netherworld back, and it could not get close for a while. This was the first time that Long Yu saw someone who could force the blood shadow of the netherworld away. It seemed that the blood shadow of the netherworld could not be used against a celestial secret realm cultivator. Of course, even if it did not work, the blood shadow of the netherworld delayed the eagle's escape and counterattack. Drunk in the underworld, kill. Long Yu followed up with a punch. Netherworld chi spread out, instantly condensing into a pillar of netherworld chi that shot towards the worshipping god Eagle. Divine text, block for me. Bai Shaning gritted his teeth. His eyes were bloodshot, and he was in an extremely sorry state. However, he still unleashed the power of the battle character with all his might in an attempt to block Long Yu's punch. Golden light dazzled, and the power of the divine characters condensed into a beam, easily blasting away Long Yu's punch. The worshipping god Eagle that had reached the heaven realm, even if it was in a heavily injured state, could easily block Long Yu's drunken Yellow Springs martial technique by using the power of the divine runes. After all, no matter what, lying drunk in the netherworld was only a top-grade mortal-level martial skill. Although it was a top-grade item, its grade was too low. At the moment, it was not very useful. Only the Yellow Springs Barrier and the Yellow Springs Mirror were still of some use. You think you can kill me just because you destroyed my true spirit? Too naive. You're the trash in the 9th true spirit layer. Bai Shuning glared at Long Yu. His fist condensed with the golden light of the divine characters, and he punched at Long Yu. Ever since he had comprehended the battle character, this had become his strongest attack. It was more powerful than any of the martial arts techniques he had cultivated in the past. He was very confident in the power of the battle character. Divine text. Long Yu raised his hand, and the Yu character appeared again. A dense netherworld chi burst out, clashing with the golden light of the worshipping god Eagle's divine characters. The netherworld chi was much more powerful than the battle character. Moreover, the netherworld chi on the third floor of the ancient dragon skeleton tower seemed to be strengthened to a certain extent. As a result, the result of the clash of the two divine characters was immediately revealed. The eerie aura of the netherworld chi spread out, and the golden light of the battle character quickly dissipated, completely disappearing from the battlefield. The Yu character completely surpassed the power of the battle character. Since Long Yu had already used it, he wouldn't mind using it again. Now that the Yu divine character appeared, it suddenly suppressed the fight divine character of the worshipping god Eagle, following which it continued to sweep over towards the worshipping god Eagle. Boom! An air current exploded, and the space whereby Shan was seemed to tremble. The netherworld chi exploded whereby Shan was, and the worshipping god Eagle's entire body was corroded by the netherworld chi. He could not even run if he wanted to, because his true spirit was damaged, and his strength was greatly reduced. Kill! A cold light flashed in Long Yu's eyes. He turned around and punched the ground. Immediately, 5 pillars of air formed by the netherworld chi condensed from the ground and shot out, swallowing the remaining 5 people in an instant, killing them on the spot. The 2 martial arts cultivators of Dragon Do and the 3 disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm had all seen Long Yu use the Yu character. Of course, Long Yu would not leave them alive. Looking at the corpses all over the field, Long Yu did not feel anything special at all. He was already used to such a scene. Worshipping God Eagle is indeed powerful. Long Yu looked at the body of the fallen, worshipping God Eagle and felt a little emotional. Now, he had to use all his strength to deal with Bai Shuning, and that was when he had the advantage of destroying his true spirit first. If it was a head-on battle, Long Yu and Bai Shuning's strength should be on par, unless Long Yu used the 9 explosions of the Nether Dragon. The power of the Yu character was indeed strong, but it was only slightly stronger than the battle character. Compared to the power of the 9 explosions of the Nether Dragon, it was still slightly weaker. After all, I have only comprehended 1,000th of the power of the Yu character, Long Yu thought to himself. He went to search the body of Bai Shuning, but did not see any treasures, so he could only give up. Leaving behind a ground full of corpses, he took the 5 exotic beast souls and left the place where an intense battle had erupted. Such an intense battle could be happening everywhere in the Dragon Bone Tower. One could imagine that it would not be easy to leave the Dragon Bone Tower alive. If the disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm meet, most of them will work together. This means that the foreign martial arts cultivators participating in the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection have suffered greatly in the Dragon Bone Tower. Long Yu thought to himself. He was slightly worried about Yin Huanma, Man Xian, and the others. However, Yan Huanma and Man Xian's strength was not bad, and they were also very smart. Even in the Dragon Bone Tower, it should not be a problem for them to leave alive. Let's go to the 4th level. Long Yu's goal was different from everyone else's. With the guidance of the Dragon Seal of the 9 Underworlds, it was very easy for him to find the stairs to the next level. If he could reach the higher levels as quickly as possible, wouldn't it be easier for him to obtain some treasures? The withered exotic beasts that appeared on the 3rd level of the Dragon Bone Tower were all at the 8th or 9th tier of the true Spirit Secret Realm. As Long Yu walked, he encountered many withered exotic beasts that wanted to attack him. It was a pity that even the upper-level withered exotic beasts of the rank 9 True Spirit Realm were no match for Long Yu. On the next level, there are only withered exotic beasts of the rank 9 True Spirit Realm and early human realm in the Celestial Realm. I have to be careful on the 4th level, Long Yu thought to himself. Soon, he found the stairs to the 4th level with the guidance of the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds. No one had come to this staircase before. When Long Yu arrived near the staircase, he had not encountered any other martial arts cultivators for a long time. If it was an ordinary martial arts cultivator of the rank 9 true spirit realm, it would be enough for them to reach the 3rd level of the Dragon Bone Tower. If they were lucky enough to search for treasures on the 3rd level, they might actually be able to make it into the top 12 of the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection. However, Long Yu was naturally not satisfied with this. He wanted to obtain more from the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. Most importantly, he wanted to head to the higher levels of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower to see if the ancient Dragon Bone Tower had anything to do with the Dragon Seal of the 9 underworlds. No one had ever been able to return to the 7th level, so he did not dare to go there. However, he had to go to the 6th level. The 4th level was right in front of Long Yu. He stepped onto the tall stairs that were covered by dark green vines. He could not see the end of the stairs, but he could feel a strange aura of withered exotic beasts coming from the top of the stairs. If I encounter the withered exotic beasts of the celestial realm, I'm afraid it will be a tough battle. Long Yu was constantly on guard against his surroundings. On the 4th level, withered exotic beasts of the human origin realm would appear. They were also divided into 3 levels: upper, middle, and lower. Right now, Long Yu felt that with his current strength, he could at most deal with mid-level beasts of the human origin realm. If he were to encounter an upper-level beast of the human origin realm, the only thing he could do was run. After all, in a dangerous environment like the Dragon Bone Tower, it was very difficult for Long Yu to use the Nether Dragon 9 explosions alone. If he was unable to use the Nether Dragon 9 explosions, Long Yu could at most defeat an expert like the Worshipping Eagle, which was equivalent to a mid-level beast. Netherworld Barrier. Long Yu raised his hand and gathered the chi of the 9 underworlds, forming a layer of Netherworld Barrier around him. However, the situation now seemed to be a little different from the first few levels. On the stairs of the first few floors, Long Yu condensed the Yellow Springs Barrier. The withered branches and strange beasts on the stairs all retreated, appearing to be extremely afraid. But now that Long Yu had formed the Netherworld Barrier on the stairs, it was as if he had poked a hornet's nest. Originally, not many withered exotic beasts would have bothered with him. However, once the Netherworld Barrier was formed, it immediately attracted all the withered exotic beasts in the surroundings, causing them to surge towards Long Yu. Could it be that these withered exotic beasts aren't afraid of the chi of the 9 underworlds, but hate me instead? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. However, regardless of whether he was right or not, he could only deal with the situation before him first. Netherworld Realm. Long Yu murmured softly. A wave of chi of the 9 underworlds instantly spread out, enveloping all the withered exotic beasts that were charging at him. In the Netherworld Realm, the might of the chi of the 9 underworlds that Long Yu unleashed would increase by 30%, while any martial techniques his opponents used would be weakened by 20 to 30%. It was easy to imagine how much it would improve Long Yu's combat strength. Moreover, the chi of the 9 underworlds was very effective against these withered exotic beasts. Kill. Chapter 355. Just as Long Yu set foot on the stairs leading to the 4th floor of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower and started fighting against a large group of hostile, withered exotic beasts, quite a few people were charging up the stairs on the other floors of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. There were too many withered exotic beasts on the stairs leading to the 4th floor, as well as powerful existences from the heavenly being secret realm. It would be very difficult for a single person to make it. Apart from Xuanji, Tianshun, and the other 4 geniuses who had stepped into the human glory realm, none of the other martial cultivators who came to the ancient Dragon Bone Tower could make it to the 4th floor on their own. They could only rely on the strength of other martial cultivators to fight their way through. For example, even someone as powerful as Ji Tianqi did not dare to set foot on the stairs leading to the 4th floor alone. That was because there were too many withered exotic beasts lying in ambush. There were even quite a few high-rank exotic beasts that had reached the human origin realm. Ji Tianqi would have to put in a lot of effort to deal with just one of them, not to mention the large group of withered exotic beasts. Given Ji Tianqi's strength, he would most likely die if he tried to force his way through. Even if he did not die, he would be heavily injured and lose most of his combat strength. It would be impossible for him to obtain any treasures on the 4th floor. Every floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower was very spacious. There were hundreds of stairs leading from the 3rd to the 4th floor alone, so it was very rare for people to run into each other. There were only a handful of people like Long Yu who were able to step onto the passage to the 4th floor alone. It could be said that apart from Xuanji, Tianxun, and the other 4 martial cultivators, Long Yu was the only one who had such courage. Impressive. As Long Yu made his way to the 4th floor, the withered exotic beasts he encountered grew stronger and stronger. There were even terrifying beasts from the heavenly being's secret realm. These withered exotic beasts attacked from very tricky angles. Their withered arms were like octopus tentacles, constantly wrapping around Long Yu. However, Long Yu relied on the Yellow Springs barrier to easily block most of the withered branch exotic beast attacks. Needless to say, under the Yellow Springs realm, the withered branch exotic beasts would be weakened even more than other martial cultivators would be in the Yellow Springs realm. If the worshipping God Eagle's battle prowess was reduced by 20 to 30% under the Yellow Springs realm, then the withered exotic beast battle prowess was reduced by at least half under the influence of the Yellow Springs realm. This obviously showed that the netherworld energy was the natural counter of these withered branch beasts. Regardless of whether it was samsara, awakening, or lying drunk in the Yellow Springs, the might they displayed was sufficient to annihilate these withered branch exotic beasts. Unfortunately, after these ordinary withered branch exotic beasts were killed, there were no treasures like the exotic beast souls. It was a slight pity. If a Davis secret realm or early human realm withered beast appeared, Long Yu would directly use the Yu character to deal with it. After condensing the Yu character into a beam, it would easily pierce through the withered beast's body and cut its tentacle-like withered arms into several pieces. The power of the divine text seems inexhaustible. It's just that after using it too much, I feel dizzy. After killing another Davis secret realm beast with the Yu character, Long Yu felt a little dizzy. He felt that using the Yu character didn't consume the profound chi in his body, but another unknown power. The more he used the divine text, the more dizzy he became and the less energetic he felt. This made Long Yu feel somewhat vigilant. It seemed that the power of the Yu character couldn't be used too much. Fortunately, the Samsara awakening had a miraculous effect on these withered branch exotic beasts. Even against the Davis secret realm withered branch exotic beasts, it could reduce their power by more than half. Coupled with the influence of the Yellow Springs realm, the withered branch exotic beasts in the Davis secret realm did not pose much of a threat to Long Yu. It could be said that even a god-worshipping hawk was much more of a threat to Long Yu than these withered branch exotic beasts. The fundamental reason was that the martial skills that Long Yu had comprehended related to the 9 serenities were too effective against these withered branch exotic beasts. Long Yu continued to move up the stairs. The floor was littered with the corpses of the withered branch exotic beasts. Facing the tide of withered branch exotic beasts filled with killing intent, even though Long Yu's dantian, which had been tempered by the heavenly thunder, was constantly throbbing, the profound chi in his body was quickly depleted. Take the medicinal pill and continue. Long Yu raised his hand and took out a small medicine bottle from the 9 serenity space. He swallowed a medicinal pill that could recover profound chi. He had learned how to refine these medicinal pills when he was following the alchemy elder, Dusk Crane Pine. He would store them after refining them for emergency use. Now, they really came in handy. Long Yu killed his way up to the 4th floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower. The speed at which he killed the withered branch exotic beast was probably even faster than Xuanji Tianxin and the other Renhua realm cultivators. If others saw the scene of Long Yu killing the withered branch exotic beasts, they would definitely be shocked on the spot. It was a pity that no one followed behind Long Yu, and no one would know that all the withered branch exotic beasts on the stairs were killed by Long Yu alone. Finally, when Long Yu's hands were getting tired from killing the exotic beasts, he finally reached the end of the stairs. Ancient Dragonbone Tower, 4th floor. Long Yu raised his head and looked around. The stairs between every floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower were pitch black. Apart from that, there were luminous stones embedded in the walls of every hall and passage for illumination. Long Yu stepped onto the 4th floor of the ancient Dragon Skeleton Pagoda and discovered that he was in an average-sized hall. This hall was filled with dark green vines as usual, giving it an eerie appearance. There are no exotic beasts. Long Yu frowned slightly, a little surprised. He thought that there would be more withered branch exotic beasts on the 4th floor. That's not right. It seems like there aren't so many exotic beasts on every floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower. Only the stairs have the most withered branch exotic beasts. Long Yu's heart skipped a beat as he suddenly thought of something. He had tested it earlier. Although he could sense the aura of the withered branch exotic beasts standing at the bottom of the stairs leading to the 4th floor, they were unable to walk down the stairs to the 3rd floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower. Could it be because of the restrictions of the ancient Dragonbone Tower? Withered branch exotic beasts with a certain cultivation can only move around on a certain floor? While thinking about it, Long Yu contacted the Dragon Seal of 9 Underworld's reaction. After arriving on the 4th floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower, the Dragon Seal of 9 Underworlds became even hotter, as if the environment was attracting it even more strongly. Obviously, the closer one was to the higher floors of the ancient Dragonbone Tower, the stronger the aura of 9 Underworlds. Take the exotic beasts on the 4th floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower, for example. The most comfortable place for them was the staircase leading up from the 3rd floor. It was because the aura of 9 Underworlds was the faintest there. They wanted to leave the 4th floor and head for the 3rd floor, or even lower floors, leaving the entire ancient Dragonbone Tower. Unfortunately, the ancient Dragonbone Tower was like a cage for those withered branch exotic beasts. They had no way of escaping at all. This was a cage used to imprison withered branch exotic beasts. After stepping onto the 4th floor, Long Yu started moving forward. At this moment, he was not prepared to head for the 5th floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower directly. Long Yu knew that with his current strength, there was no way he could pass through the staircase leading to the 5th floor. I have to enter the heavenly realm, Long Yu thought to himself. In order to achieve this goal, Long Yu had to find an opportunity in the 4th floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower. There were many treasures on every floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower. Some of them were the souls of exotic beasts obtained from the withered branch exotic beasts. As for the others, Long Yu had no idea, but he guessed that there would definitely be other types of treasures. Whether I can enter the heavenly realm or not will depend on whether these treasures are effective, Long Yu thought to himself. To enter the heavenly realm, the most crucial thing was to break through the bottleneck. However, for Long Yu, he had yet to accumulate the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. It was undoubtedly a pipe dream for him to enter the heavenly realm. Right now, all Long Yu could think about was making his way through the 4th floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower to look for treasures and see if he could raise his martial realm. As for the bottleneck, he could only leave it to fate. In this direction, the Dragon Seal of the 9 Underworld senses at the most. Relying on the feeling of the Dragon Seal of the 9 Underworld, Long Yu kept heading in a certain direction. That direction was not where the stairs to the next floor were. Instead, there must be some treasure that attracted the Dragon Seal of the 9 Underworld. At the same time, several other groups of people set foot on the 4th floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower from different stairs at almost the same time. We've finally reached the 4th floor. Quick, let's find the source of the 9 Underworld. From the 4th floor onward, every floor has a source of the 9 Underworld. This is a 5th grade treasure. If we can get it, there's a chance for us to enter the heavenly realm. Many disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate traversed the 4th floor of the ancient Dragonbone Tower as quickly as they could. Among these disciples, there were martial arts practitioners of the rank 9 true spirit. However, the key was that every team would be led by experts of the heavenly realm or the initial human realm. That was why they were able to quickly pass through the stairs and reach the 4th floor of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. As disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate, they had long been influenced by the ancient Dragon Bone Tower and knew very well what was inside. As such, their actions were all purposeful. We've reached the 4th floor. Chihua, if we see that Long Yu, do you know what to do? In a dark green passageway on the 4th floor of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower, Xuanji Tianshan, who was dressed in a golden robe, calmly said to a devilish red-haired youth behind him, "Kill him, and your clansmen will be saved." Got it. The devilish red-haired youth, who used to be the little fox demon Chihua, had a look of hatred in his eyes. He did not hate Long Yu, but the golden-robed Xuanji Tianshan before him. However, the chances of that guy making it to the 4th floor are slim. Even if he can, he won't be faster than us. Xuanji Tianshan then said, "Let's go and find the source of the 9 underworld. That thing is the best treasure every time the ancient Dragon Bone Tower opens." Chihua followed Xuanji Tianshan and began traversing the 4th floor of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower, searching for the source of the 9 underworld that everyone was looking for. However, they did not know that the Long Yu they were thinking about was approaching the source of the 9 underworld at a speed faster than they were. The dragon seal of the 9 underworld is getting hotter and hotter as Long Yu rapidly traversed the passageway. The reaction of the dragon seal of the 9 underworld on his chest grew stronger. Chapter 356. Long Yu traversed the 4th level of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower based on the feeling given by the dragon seal of the 9 underworld. Soon, he felt the attraction to the dragon seal of the 9 underworld growing stronger. Finally, after turning a corner, Long Yu arrived at a hall that was devoid of dark green vines. The walls of the hall were made of grayish-white bricks, and there was a black ball of light floating in the air in the middle of the hall. The attraction to the dragon seal of the 9 underworld is coming from this black ball of light. Long Yu walked into the hall and looked around cautiously. He couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he realized that no one had arrived. This black ball of light was undoubtedly a treasure, but Long Yu had no idea what level it was. He only knew that this black ball of light seemed to have something to do with the dragon seal of the 9 underworld on his chest. The strange withered beasts in the ancient Dragon Bone Tower clearly hate the chi of the 9 underworld and are extremely afraid of it. This black ball of light seems to contain endless chi of the 9 underworld, but it's also different. That's why it's able to drive those withered beasts away from here. Long Yu thought for a moment. He spread his pitch-black wings and flew into the air. The black ball of light floating in the air was about the same size as Long Yu's entire body. Looking at it from a close distance, it was quite astonishing. This was because there were lines of light flowing on its surface, which were exactly the same as the 9 nether lines on the battle weapons that had been modified by the 9 nether dragon seal. Long Yu grabbed the black ball of light with one hand. He could feel the rich chi of the world within the black ball of light. The chi of the world was surrounded by the chi of the 9 underworld, as if it was being stored. The source of the 9 underworld. This term suddenly appeared in Long Yu's mind. He now knew what kind of existence the black ball of light before him was. Although this thing was known as the source of the 9 underworld, it was in fact not the source of the chi of the 9 underworld. It was just that the chi of the world was surrounded by the chi of the 9 underworld. The spiritual chi of heaven and earth here seemed to be purer than the spiritual chi of heaven and earth on the heavenly mandate continent outside, and it was extremely rich. The spiritual energy contained within this 9th hell source is probably comparable to 10 top-grade profound rank. No, 20 top-grade profound rank medicinal pills. Long Yu grabbed the source of the 9 underworlds and threw it into the 9 underworld space. All of a sudden, the aura of the 9 underworlds in the hall weakened, and the aura that made the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds hot also disappeared. Only a faint aura remained, which seemed to indicate that the netherworld's origin had once appeared here. Go! After Long Yu succeeded, he left the hall without hesitation. As he wandered aimlessly through the 4th level of the ancient dragon skeleton tower, he absorbed the pure spiritual chi from the origin of the Hades he had just obtained, feeling the power in his body gradually surge. Right now, he was in the rank 9 true spirit martial Dao realm. If he went up another level, he would be able to step into the heaven realm. And now, he was working hard in this direction. With this 9th hell source, the spiritual chi of heaven and earth should be enough. In that case, if I want to step into the heaven realm, I have to find a way to break through the bottleneck. Long Yu thought. The 9th hell source just now contains such dense spiritual chi of heaven and earth. It must be something that everyone wants. Why don't I go back to the hall and guard it? Maybe I can wait for some experts of the heaven realm to fight amongst themselves? If he could observe a battle between experts, it would definitely be quite effective for Long Yu to break through the bottleneck of the heaven realm. However, it would be more difficult to hide at the side without being discovered. With a thought, Long Yu returned, and soon returned to the hall where he had obtained the 9th hell source. The aura of the 9 underworlds still existed faintly. With one look, one could tell that the 9th hell source had once appeared here, but now it had been taken away. Long Yu quietly arrived at the entrance of the hall, and indeed, he heard a few groups of martial cultivators arguing inside. When we came, Xuanji Tianqian was already here. If it didn't take the 9th hell source, then who did? One of the female voices said coldly. Her target was Xuanji Tianqian. Really? Xuanji Tianqian chuckled. If I had taken the 9th hell source, would I be here waiting for you to rob me? I'm a genius, not a fool. If I had gotten it, I would have left long ago. Then who took the 9th hell source? Inside the hall, everyone was deep in thought. Long Yu sensed that there were several very powerful auras in the hall. They were definitely Renhua realm experts like Xuanji Tianqian. There were 5 Renhua realm experts among the disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm, and they all seemed to be gathered here. If Long Yu appeared, he would definitely die without a burial place. As disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm, they knew each other's personalities very well. Soon, they were sure that the 9th hell source was not in any of their hands. It's a pity that I can't see them fight, Long Yu thought to himself. Then, he turned around and left without any reluctance. Since there was no battle to watch, it would be more dangerous for him to stay. He might as well think of another way. Long Yu came and left, and no one noticed his whereabouts. A long time after Long Yu left, Xuanji Tianqian and the others walked out of the hall with gloomy expressions. They were unable to wrap their heads around how the 9th hell spring had vanished without a trace. They, the Renhua realm experts, were definitely the first to reach the 4th level of the Dragon Skeleton Tower. But why did the 9th hell source disappear just like that? If one of them had gotten the 9th hell source, it would have been fine. After all, it was one of them who got it. But now, it was unknown which fellow had taken away the source of the 9th hell in advance. One had to know that the spiritual chi contained in the 9th hell source was something that even the Deva realm and Renhua realm experts coveted. For them, absorbing the 9th hell source would also greatly improve. Most importantly, the 9th hell source was not like other elixirs, where the effect would be reduced by half when one absorbed a second time. Regardless of whether one had absorbed the 9th hell source before or not, one could absorb all the spiritual chi in it to improve one's realm. From a 4th to the 5th and 6th levels, there were 3 9th hell sources. If one could obtain all of them, even a Renhua realm expert would be able to improve by leaps and bounds. It would save them more than 10 years of hard work. The Heavenly Mandate Academy was able to stand in the sky above the Heavenly Mandate continent and rule over the entire continent, because it had many resources that secular forces did not. Something like the 9th hell source would definitely make anyone go crazy if it appeared in the Tang Empire or even a place like the North Sea Kingdom. It wouldn't appear even once in a few hundred years. But for the disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Academy, there was a chance to snatch the ninth hell source every 7 years. That was the difference. Apart from talent, one's achievements on the path of martial arts were closely related to the cultivation resources one could obtain. Long Yu didn't pay attention to Xuanji Tianxun and the others. He left alone and quickly found a secluded place to start absorbing the ninth hell source. What a pity! It seems I'm almost there. Long Yu's face darkened. The spiritual qi of heaven and earth in the ninth hell source was indeed very rich. But even with the souls of the exotic beasts, it was still not enough for him to step into the heavenly realm. To step into the heavenly realm, the first thing to do was to have enough spiritual qi to refine the real spirit in the elixir field, so that the real spirit could reach the strongest level until it could feel the rhythm of the laws of heaven and earth and become one with it. The biggest disadvantage for Long Yu to advance was that he had 3 real spirits: the sun of suppressing heaven, the moon of Tying, and the dragon of 9 hell. These 3 real spirits all had to be in harmony with the rhythm of heaven and earth before he could try to step into the heavenly realm. In other words, if he wanted to step into the heavenly realm, he needed several times more spiritual qi than others. The ninth hell source could allow an ordinary martial arts practitioner in the ninth true spirit realm to directly reach the heavenly realm, but for Long Yu, it was far from enough. I can only absorb one of the exotic beast's souls. When I absorb the second one, the effect will be greatly reduced, so there's no need to absorb it. Long Yu shook his head. He absorbed 2 of the exotic beast souls and found that the effect was not good, so he put the remaining 3 away and prepared to use them to deal with the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection. He was not worried that he would not be able to pass the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection because his results in the previous round were very good. He now had a score of more than 130, so it would not be a problem for him to enter the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate. Even if the ninth hell source is a treasure of the 5th level, it only has a score of 50. Others would need to find at least 2 ninth hell source to have a chance of surpassing my score, and this is almost impossible. Long Yu thought to himself. He could be sure that there was only 1 ninth hell source on the 4th level of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. If he wanted more, he would have to go to the 5th level to take a look. If there was only 1 ninth hell source on each level, Long Yu did not have to worry about others surpassing his score. Moreover, the disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate were also in the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. How many treasures would they snatch? It would be difficult for the other martial arts cultivators participating in the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection to obtain treasures, let alone a high-level treasure like the ninth hell source. Long Yu's goal in the ancient Dragon Bone Tower was to try to break through to the heavenly being realm. After leaving the hall where the ninth hell source was, the number of withered exotic beasts increased once again. Be it the withered exotic beasts of the rank 9 true spirit realm, or those of the early human realm, they were no match for Long Yu at the moment. However, he did not dare to go to the next level recklessly. If he encountered a withered exotic beast of the Hua realm, it would be difficult for Long Yu to defeat it. He might even be injured. Long Yu turned a corner and suddenly felt a strong aura of withered exotic beasts in front of him. He raised his head to take a look, and sure enough, he saw that in the hall ahead, there was actually an enormous withered mutated beast. It was an entire 4 to 5 meters tall, comparable to a 3-story building. There were many ordinary withered exotic beasts around this huge withered exotic beast, guarding it like they were protecting their king. This is the giant withered exotic beast. It contains the soul of the exotic beast. I can't miss it. Long Yu's eyes lit up. If he could defeat this giant withered exotic beast, he would definitely not let go of the exotic beast soul that was delivered to his doorstep. However, this giant withered exotic beast was of the heavenly being realm. Its strength at the early human realm was probably stronger than that of an upper-level early human realm beast. It was still unknown whether Long Yu could defeat it. Most importantly, there were many small ones around the big guy. Chapter 357. There were at least a few dozen withered exotic beasts charging at Long Yu, and every single one of them was at the 9th grade of the true spirit realm. As if sensing the netherworld aura on Long Yu, the withered exotic beasts all became a little agitated. Kill! Without any hesitation, Long Yu raised his hand and gathered the netherworld aura, throwing a punch at the large group of withered exotic beasts. The netherworld aura gathered was definitely more than enough to deal with the withered exotic beasts in the 9th grade of the true spirit realm. The netherworld chi exploded with a loud bang. Long Yu's punch directly annihilated all the withered branch strange beasts. Immediately after, he stepped into the hall and faced the 3-story tall giant withered exotic beast alone. What a big guy. Looks like I'll need to put in some effort to deal with you, Long Yu thought. However, just as he was about to make his move, he saw the withered arms that the giant withered exotic beast shot out start to split apart. Split? Reproduce? Long Yu was stunned. The giant withered exotic beast seemed to be the mother of the withered exotic beasts. It was no wonder that the other small beasts were like stars surrounding the moon and protecting it. It was a pity that it had no chance of survival against Long Yu. The power of the Yu character appeared once again, condensing into a beam of light that instantly shredded many of the withered arms of the giant withered exotic beast. However, it was also at this moment that a large group of small withered exotic beasts grew out. Even though they did not have any consciousness or fighting strength, they still charged at Long Yu with no regard for their lives. Netherworld Realm, activate. With a thought from Long Yu, the netherworld aura instantly spread out, forming a terrifying domain that completely suppressed the newly born exotic beasts. They cannot move at all. Immediately after, Long Yu's Yu character continued to be activated, bombarding the mother of exotic beasts. Not long after, the giant mother of exotic beasts fell to the ground under the destruction of the Yu character. It no longer had any life, nor did it have the ability to reproduce small withered exotic beasts. Strange beast soul. Only such a strange beast mother would give birth to a strange beast soul after death. Such a strange beast soul is indeed a good tonic for human martial cultivators. It's a pity that after consuming a second strange beast soul, the effects will be greatly reduced. Long Yu thought in his heart as he stepped into the palace. He grabbed the small ball of light that was rising up. That was the soul of the strange beast. He could feel that the exotic beast soul born from the mother of exotic beasts was of a higher grade than the ones Long Yu had obtained before, and the heaven and earth spiritual chi it contained was much denser. Unfortunately, Long Yu had already consumed the exotic beast soul, so it would not be of much use if he consumed it again. Seems like it won't be so easy to enter the heavenly mystery realm. Long Yu destroyed all the withered exotic beasts near the hall and was about to leave when he suddenly noticed a few martial cultivators walking quickly in his direction. Before Long Yu could leave, he saw several figures of martial cultivators appear in the passageway on the other side of the hall. Silent Shang, Eater, Shuelon. Long Yu looked over and saw 3 powerful martial cultivators of the heavenly mystery realm and the early human realm. Each of them was in the early human realm. After the heavenly mandate sacred selection, they would definitely become disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm. Of course, the prerequisite was that they did not die in the Dragon Bone Tower. Long Yu, the black figure, Silent Shang, said lightly. Silent Shang was a powerful demon cultivator from the Soul Valley Demon Kingdom and a member of the Shadow Demon Royal Clan. The Shadow Demon Royalty was a powerful demon clan that was above the Ghost Valley Winged Envoy clan. They held a ruling position in the Soul Valley Demon Kingdom, and as the most talented demon cultivator of the younger generation in the entire Soul Valley Demon Kingdom, Silent Shang's pride was innate. However, after coming to the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate Realm and participating in the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection, Silent Shang realized that there were so many geniuses in the world. Even the human martial cultivators that he had completely looked down upon were generally much stronger than the demon cultivators. In particular, A human martial cultivator in the 9th rank true spirit was able to snatch the ultimate divine hall in the small world of the heavenly mandate sand table. This made Silent Shang look at Long Yu in a new light. Long Yu, how about we join forces? Xuelan, a beauty in a snow-white dress, who is a genius girl from the Ice Source Temple, said to Long Yu with a smile. Join forces? Long Yu did not expect the other party to state their purpose so directly. Logically, after their experience in the small world of the heavenly mandate sand table, whether it was Silent Shang, Xuelan, or the Fat Eater, they would definitely hate Long Yu. After all, Long Yu had snatched the ultimate divine hall. That's right. In the ancient Dragonbone Tower, there are not only people like us who are participating in the Heavenly Mandate Sacred Selection, but also disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate. There was a smile and enthusiasm on the fat face of the Eater. The disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate have a much greater advantage than us in all aspects. Long Yu, if we join forces, we might be able to compete with them. But if we don't join forces, it is very likely that we will end up with nothing. It turned out that they had encountered the disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate and felt that they were not strong enough, so they wanted to join forces with Long Yu. After all, now that Long Yu was standing on the 4th level of the ancient Dragonbone Tower alone, it undoubtedly showed that he was very powerful himself. Otherwise, how could he have passed the stairs to the 4th level? It was worth noting that Xuelan, the Eater, and Silent Shang had joined forces and only managed to pass the stairs to the 4th level with great difficulty. Furthermore, they had joined forces with another group of people. After reaching the 4th level, due to their different stances, the 3 of them had separated from the disciples of the Northern Academy of Heavenly Mandate. Now that the 3 of them had met Long Yu, they decided to invite Long Yu to join them. All right, then let's walk together. Long Yu nodded in agreement. With his current strength, even if the 3 of them joined forces to kill him, they would have to think twice before doing so. As such, he was not afraid that the 3 of them would suddenly turn on him. Most importantly, he did not have much of a grudge against Silent Shang, the Eater, and Xuelan. In the current environment of the ancient Dragonbone Tower, the 4 of them joining forces was the best choice. What treasures have you obtained? Long Yu took the initiative to ask the 3 of them. This was something that he was more concerned about. After all, he had only just found the 1st-grade treasure, the soul of an exotic beast, and the treasure of an uncertain grade, the origin of 9 underworlds. There were definitely many other types of treasures in the ancient Dragonbone Tower, but Long Yu had not seen them before. If he could obtain some information from the 3 of them, it would be of great help to his subsequent actions. The soul of an exotic beast, obtained from the mother of the exotic beast. This is the most basic treasure in the entire ancient Dragonbone Tower. Any martial arts cultivator with a bit of strength will be able to obtain it. Xuelan smiled and said, other than that, there are also some naturally grown herbs and treasures that can be directly consumed to raise one's martial arts realm. I also obtained a rare, or that can be used to refine some high-grade weapons. I'm not sure if it is 2nd-grade or 3rd-grade treasure. The Eater said with squinted eyes. Herbs, ores, soul of an exotic beast. Long Yu nodded. These things were naturally produced. It seemed that entering once every 7 years would indeed produce a lot of good things during this period of time. The Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm occupied such a good place, so it was only natural that their disciples would improve rapidly in their cultivation. It seems that I've only seen the soul of an exotic beast so far. I'm a little ignorant. Long Yu smiled faintly. Of course, he wouldn't tell anyone about the origin of the 9 underworlds. Otherwise, there would definitely be more people who would feel enmity towards Long Yu. The first would be the 4 young Renhua realm cultivators who were with Xuanji and Tianxin. Although Long Yu was not afraid, he did not want to cause trouble for no reason. Moreover, the Eater, Silent Shang, and Xuelan were only tentatively walking together. Welcome. Xuelan smiled and extended her hand. Long Yu nodded his head and extended his hand as well. He gently shook Xuelan's delicate, snow-white and slender hand. It could be considered that he had officially walked together with the 3 of them. On the fourth level of the Dragonbone Tower, they were merely initial Renhua realm cultivators. They had to work together in order to gain the upper hand in certain conflicts. Otherwise, they would likely suffer at the hands of the disciples of the Northern Academy of the Heavenly Mandate Realm. Being robbed of treasures? That was a small matter. It would be a big deal if they lost their lives. With our strength, I'm afraid we can only stay on the fourth level. If we want to go to the fifth level, only the 5 Renhua realm cultivators are qualified. The Eater shook his head and said, in the next half a month, we must find as many treasures as possible on the fourth level. That's right. The difference between the Renhua realm and our initial Renhua realm is too great. It's best if we don't run into the 5 Renhua realm cultivators. Otherwise, we won't be able to gain anything. Silent Shang nodded in a low voice. Although he was a demon cultivator, Silent Shang seemed to be on good terms with the Eater and Xuelon. After all, they had fought together before. They passed through the stairs that were filled with dried branches and beasts to the fourth level. Xuelon glanced at Long Yu and nodded. Then let's stay on the fourth level first. The treasures there should be pretty good. Let's try to find as many as we can. The 4 of them started walking in the same direction. Although they were walking together, Long Yu was not at ease at all. After all, he was not familiar with Xuelon, Silent Shang, and the Eater. He could not trust them completely. Along the way, Long Yu asked the 3 if they had seen Man Xian, Yin Huan, Mo, Tian Yutian, and the others. They said that they had not. Although Long Yu was worried, it was impossible for him to look for them in the current situation. The Dragonbone Tower was so huge. If he wanted to look for one person, he might not be able to find them even after a month. It's best if I can see more battles. That way, I can observe and try to break through the bottleneck of the heavenly mystery realm. This was what Long Yu was thinking when he walked with Xuelon and the others. Not long after, the 4 of them turned a corner and heard the sounds of an intense battle ahead. The 4 of them perked up.